Hi, I'm Alex.
And I'm Eddie.
Welcome to the 22nd episode of Catch 52, a politics podcast brought to you by WDSR Duquesne Student Radio.
We are now 29 weeks away from Inauguration Day 2021, and 29 is such a great number. I think it's about time we make some way too early predictions about the presidential election, the Senate election, and the House election.
Yes, welcome to our YouTube exclusive episode. Probably not the last one of these that we're going to do, but probably one of few that we will, where we are going to take on the monstrous task of trying to predict the entire election. How many weeks in advance? How many months in advance?
A good few. I mean, it's now July 2nd that we're recording this. So we're July, August, September, October, November. We're 4 months in advance right now.
And we're recording this right now because basically all of the primaries just got set up. So
are all but over.
Yeah, so all of them were already decided for the most part, and then finally the Booker-McGrath primary was decided.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about that more in a later episode.
Yeah,
also.
that's
all the actual results of all the primaries, but right now we just want to get the predictions out of the way first.
So because now this is like the first moment all the primaries are in, before anything happens, before anybody does anything stupid, before any sex scandals come out, we're gonna see. We're gonna get our hot off the iron take on who is going to win every single race that is going to be running.
That's right. We're talking presidential, we're talking Senate, and we're talking House.
Right.
So let's pull up the map. Thank you 270towin.com for having such a great interface on this. Not sponsored, but I wish they would.
And no thank you to 538. Get your formatting together. They usually have a thing where I believe 270 links to a 538 set of polls.
Yeah. 538, when it comes, closer to the election, it's not 4 months in advance. They'll have a much more detailed breakdown in the House, and we'll be able to look at actual analysis and history of voting in any specific district and, a more accurate breakdown of the polls. But that's not what we have right now because this is a way too early prediction.
Exactly. All right. So without further ado, because this is going to be a stupidly long episode.
Yes. So we're going to start with president. And the first thing I need to mention is that there are all these different options in terms of how we're going to score this. Yeah. When we get to November or our last episodes of predictions, we're going to just do toss up blue or red, but we're just going to give ourselves a little bit of leniency here because we are, again, 4 months in advance.
Yeah.
So let's begin.
All right. That's the presidential election as it stands.
Yes,
and we're talking swing states.
Yeah, this is how it's looking. So
all right.
Let's just first up shore up these. I think Texas is going to stay red. It's going to be close, but it's going to stay red.
North Carolina, put that toss up red.
Yeah, I think leans red. I think Georgia's probably solid red.
Keep Florida toss up red.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Arizona toss up blue.
Yeah, I think also Nevada's pretty solid blue at this point. It's been trending blue for a while.
I would agree.
And considering how the entire population is concentrated in Las Vegas.
Also the fact that all of their state legislators and governor now are Democrats.
Unless Romney really tries to do something crazy, I think that Utah's going to stay red. Romney could, it wouldn't be too far out for him to endorse Biden, but I don't think that that's the move for him right now.
No, it's not happening.
No. Nebraska, again, Nebraska too has been slowly trending.
New Mexico blue?
I think New Mexico stays blue. New Mexico is more blue than Arizona. It has two Democratic senators, a Democratic governor. Yeah.
Ooh,
no. Nebraska, I think this one is.
Let's wait on Nebraska for a second.
Yeah, let's wait.
It's toss up red on Nebraska because I got a thing to say on Nebraska for a later.
We're gonna actually have to get to that when we get to the actual polls in Nebraska too, because that's probably going to affect it a lot.
So
Iowa, I think, is going to stay red.
I agree. And put it solid red. Let's put Wisconsin. Let's put Pennsylvania lean blue first.
Really? Do you think Biden's going to have that effect?
Well, here's what I'm saying. The polls have shown that Pennsylvania, we have already discussed this. We agree that Wisconsin is the bellwether state, right? Pennsylvania is more blue in this election than Wisconsin.
No. Yes, actually, yes.
It goes, as far as the wall goes, it goes Michigan, most blue, Pennsylvania, then Wisconsin.
Yeah, and then
everything
Ohio
after Wisconsin, I put as red. So that includes Ohio, North Carolina, Florida for me.
Yeah, I put Ohio as solid red. I agree. I don't think the Democrats are going to be trying too hard.
Here's
I think
why I
Minnesota.
say
So I think other states also are going to calm down a little bit, and Trump's going to gain some traction back. But I think since Minnesota was the hotspot of the the Black Lives Matter movement that's
I
popped up
agree.
recently, I think they're staying blue.
I agree.
At least for this election, they all also are one of the states trending red, but I think they're staying blue this time.
And if not, we'll see.
Yeah.
So the reason I wanted you to put Pennsylvania blue and not Wisconsin is because now the decision has been made for us. We don't have to, we don't have to predict whether Wisconsin will go one way or the other, because even if Wisconsin goes red, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Under this cycle, basically.
Yeah. And I think New Hampshire is also going to stay blue. I think it's just going to go with the rest of New England. I
definitely agree. So, all right. As you can see, we have Biden winning, but again, we still have debates. We still have 4 months to go. This is all subject to a lot of change.
Obviously, Biden's going to have to make a lot more appearances as the election comes closer. Neither candidate are particularly known for avoiding gaffes, so we're going to see both of them slip in the polls.
Yep.
Trump's typically a better debater than Biden, so he's going to gain some points probably during those. And so we can just expect, the general trend blue that we're seeing right now is going to peter out a little bit.
But here's the thing though. These predictions we're making right now is we're factoring in debate performances. We're factoring in inevitable Biden gaffes.
Mm-hmm.
Biden, if the election were today, Biden could win in Florida. Biden could win in Texas. Biden could win in North Carolina and Ohio and everywhere else.
And Georgia.
So we're giving a lot of ground in these predictions.
Yeah.
So we're saying Texas is going to stay solidly red. Ohio is solidly red. Florida is toss-up red, even though Biden is up by like 14 points in some Florida polls.
Yeah. And then we're keeping Maine and Nebraska to lean red right now, but we will revisit those after we get to those elections.
Later episode, I have a nightmare scenario for you involving Nebraska too, but that's for another time. Anyway, as of right now, prediction is Biden wins, but that should not come as any surprise.
Yeah. All right. Senate.
Let's get actually interesting here. All right.
Now, here's where we start getting real.
So, Senate races worth following. All right, we're just going to do this in alphabetical order, and we'll give time as they are competitive. So, Alabama, say it on 3. 1, 2, or wait, the Alabama primary is actually still happening.
But I think
it's it's Tuberville, who is the former Auburn football coach, or Jeff Sessions.
Yeah. But I think either way, if you look at the polls, Jones is in a really close race, and Alabama, I think, eventually is going to lean more red as this goes, as Trump solidifies support. So I think that
Jones is pro-life, or not pro-life. Jones is pro-choice. That's all there is to it. Yeah. So there's some states that just are not going anywhere, and Alabama's one of them. It'd be hilarious if Sessions got his seat back, though.
So in Alaska, Sullivan is up for re-election. I don't really see that being too much of a challenge for him.
Nope.
I think, I mean, if you look, so the most recent poll has it 39-39.
Which is pretty terrible.
For an incumbent Alaskan senator. But again, Alaska is going to vote red in the presidential.
Yep.
And I think Trump is going to just have enough momentum probably to carry it over for Sullivan also.
I would agree. All right, so Alaska, Arizona. Now we start to get. This is interesting.
Here's an interesting one.
We have. What's her name? See, it's unfortunate. I get to show how little I know because it only shows the last name of both people who are running. So we got Martha McSally versus it just says Kelly. Gosh,
Kelly.
dang it.
It's Mark Kelly.
I thought it was another woman.
It's Mark Kelly.
Okay. All right, so Martha McSally versus Mark Kelly. Who do you got and why?
I think it's going to be Kelly. McSally was a weak candidate that barely squeaked it out in 2018. She hasn't really done anything notable, and Arizona, as we already predicted, is trending blue and is probably going to vote Biden, so I think that same lean should go to the Senate seat.
Absolutely. Kelly has only gone up in the polls recently. And Martha McSally's had some poor showings, especially recently. Last week, there was a poll that had her at 34%, which is god-awful. Whereas in a direct poll versus Kelly 49, McSally 34. So Kelly being up 15 points. Yeah, McSally got in because it was a special election, because she came in on
Mhm.
Trump's coattails. Honestly, she's kind of a conspiracy theorist. She gives me Sarah Palin vibes, which is not a bad thing if you're running in the West, but all things considered, Arizona's trending blue. McSally has only won one poll in all the polls that I'm looking at, and that's from Gravis Marketing, which is rated a C by 538.
Yeah, I think it's not a definite, but it leans towards Mark Kelly.
Absolutely.
Next state is Colorado. Colorado.
No, California.
California is not up. That poll's just they formatted that weird if you look at it.
Yeah.
Colorado's up next, and Colorado is John Hickenlooper versus Cory Gardner.
Now this is another interesting one.
I think personally, it's actually a solid blue.
Really, I think Hickenlooper's overrated. He's going to win, but it's not going to be as close as people are saying.
Hickenlooper,
it's not going to be as.
Yeah, so Colorado's an interesting state politically because it's a purple state, but it's not purple in the sense that the voters are purple, like in Pennsylvania. It's purple in the sense that you have the super liberal people in Denver and Boulder, and then the super not liberal people everywhere else. Correct. So it's all about voter turnout in Colorado. And Hickenlooper is a very popular Democratic governor. Cory Gardner is a very average Republican senator.
At the same time,
Hickenlooper also has a national profile since he ran for president.
That I would say that would normally be a really awesome thing. However, Hickenlooper almost lost his primary. It was pretty close, and one of the things that that he really got hit hard on in the primary was like, "Oh, you ran for president. Like this wasn't your first choice." And we're going to talk about that a little bit more here when we come to Montana. But that's proving to be a relatively effective strategy. Hickenlooper is definitely going to win. He's up by 11, 18, and 17. Well, okay, no, those two. So in May, he's up by about 17 points. Yesterday, he's up by 11. So, again, could just be polls anomalies. But it is indicative that those kind of tactics are definitely going to play well. I think that Hickenlooper will definitely win, but it will be pretty close.
The other thing you have to remember is that the Colorado Democratic voter base is going to be very motivated for the sole purpose of getting Trump out. So they're going to be out in the polls and voting Democratic. Yeah. So I think that Hickenlooper is a lot safer than some other polling places.
And Colorado is not known for voter suppression.
No.
So there's not going to be a huge issue when it comes to like participation. All right. So that's the first one that's definitely interesting. Okay, Connecticut.
Yeah. Connecticut's an old poll. And it looks like Delaware is the next election. And who is up in Delaware because it's not the right
It is
Chris Coons. Delaware is a solid blue state.
In Delaware?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a solid blue state. It's fine.
Nothing really to say about it.
No.
After that,
Georgia is the next one where it's interesting. There are two elections in Georgia. First for David Perdue, or Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue are both up in Georgia.
Oh, both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Because there's a special election.
So we have John Ossoff, if I have that right?
Yes. No. Yes. So
John Ossoff against David Perdue.
Yeah.
Every time I say David Perdue, I want to say David Duke. I don't know. It just
same vibes
off the tongue. Is he like Sonny Perdue's brother?
Unsure.
Maybe cousin. I don't know. And then, Warnock versus Loeffler. That's wild that there's a poll that has Warnock, who's the Democrat, by the way, up by 3.
Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced in that. I think both of them are. I think both of them are lean.
No, well, it's lean, but here's what I mean about voter suppression.
Yeah.
Georgia has not been able to catch a break when it comes to the Republican state legislature decreasing the amount of polling places in Democratic strongholds. And let's not even talk gerrymandering for a second, because that's the bigger problem. It basically ensures that it's John Lewis is the Atlanta.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it ensures that John Lewis was an incredible congressman for his entire life, and whoever they elect after that, after John Lewis passes away, But this is actually like in that district, the number of precincts where people can go and vote for any election have been cut down significantly. So it is actually it's not like it's not a question of like, oh, just show up and do your job and vote. It's even if everybody were to show up at the beginning of the day, there would not be enough time to register all of the votes, and that's before we take into account mail-in voting and then other things like that. So Georgia may have the population to elect a Democrat, but voter suppression is going to take a massive toll on Democratic turnout, and it will stay red. I have no doubt.
One thing that's interesting though is if you look at the polls, Purdue's a lot more popular.
That's true.
And so I think we might have the weird scenario where if I had more colors, I'd color this a little darker, but I don't think that this one's as solid as Purdue.
I'll give you that.
I think it's, not unsolid, but I think it's not as solid.
Yeah.
Which is, a bit of the challenge we have when we're using fewer colors, but that's the self-imposed restriction.
There is an unfortunate truth that women tend to not run as successfully in heavily conservative voter bases.
But yes.
Yeah. All right.
Illinois, Dick Durbin, blue.
Easy.
Done.
All right, Indiana
was last time.
Oh, Indiana's last time. 538 hasn't updated this, so I'm just going.
Iowa. Joni Ernst is one of the more unpopular senators, actually.
Yes, Joni Ernst, as Iowan as she is, the common critique is that she's very robotic, and it's pretty accurate. I don't know if you've seen her. She gave a response to the State of the Union, I think, under President Obama, and it was rough.
Yeah. And she's running against Teresa Greenfield,
who's a Joni Ernst clone.
What? Yeah, pretty much. Right now, Greenfield's up, and she has been for a little bit, but I think
this could change.
Ultimately, again, if we look at the up ballot race, we have it going red. I think Joni's going to sneak in with another term under the leadership.
That's absolutely right. She has been in lockstep with President Trump, and if we're going to say that President Trump is going to win Iowa, let's assume that she will be dragged in for another term as well.
Yeah. Next, we have Kansas.
Oh, man.
We're not talking about the House race yet.
There's some pain here.
we'll get to the Kansas House race.
But hey,
there are grievances there.
Kansas, a state with a Democratic governor, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. So we've got this is Bollier versus
Hamilton, Marshall, or Kobach. And who won the primary?
I think Kobach.
It is uncalled so far.
Still uncalled. Well, unfortunately, I thought they'd all been called. Right. That's why we did this episode. Oh well. I think Kobach was actually leading in polls going into the election.
All right.
But let's not. Kobach has the most notoriety in Kansas politics. That's not to say that the other candidates don't have a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, that's just what we're going to assume. This race is stupidly close right now, just based on the polls that I'm looking at.
It's a 1-point race, but again, like we said earlier, Republicans are going to gain a little bit of this traction back probably, and so I'd again put it in lean.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a definite, but it's fairly safe, I'd say. And then the big one this election, Kentucky. Amy McGrath pulled out a victory over.
Aren't you missing one? Oh no, there is Kentucky. I skipped over Kentucky for some reason. My bad.
All right. Yes. Yeah, so we have Kentucky now.
Now this is a really interesting race because so this can go from completely one way to completely the other.
Mm-hmm.
June 9th, 2020, we've got a poll from RMG Research that shows that McGrath is beating McConnell by 1 whole point. 9 days later, 2 polls taken by Civics show that both Booker and McGrath are losing to McConnell by double digits. McGrath by 20 points.
So I think at this point, I think it's still safe to say it leans Republican. There needs to be a lot more effort in Kentucky to get a Democrat elected statewide. It hasn't happened in a long, long time, I believe. So I think right now it's safest to say it probably leans McConnell.
Leans McConnell. We can dream, but
yeah, I think
McConnell.
this is going to be the toughest race of his career up until now, but I think he'll still be able to pull it through. Because it's important to remember, as not great of a person Mitch McConnell is, he's an amazing politician.
Yep.
So I think he'll be able to pull this
Mitch McConnell is living, breathing proof that being a good politician has nothing to do with charisma, public speaking, because he's the antithesis of that, and he's the Senate freaking majority leader.
Yeah.
But yeah, loath as I am to say it, it will probably stay McConnell by the slimmest of margins yet.
Yeah, I think he'll pull it out by a solid 3 points.
3 points is probably right.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one, this is the most interesting one for me.
I think this one might be a bellwether in the
absolutely
elections.
Maine. We've got
Susan Collins versus Sarah Gideon.
Sarah Gideon versus Susan Collins. Sarah Gideon came out with the most amazing ad today.
Also, Susan Collins is the most unpopular senator in the U.S. in their home state.
Even more than McConnell.
Second place is Mitch McConnell. But Susan Collins is the most unpopular senator. Her approval ratings dropped like 50% after she voted in favor of confirming Kavanaugh, and they have not recovered since. I think just her massive unpopularity puts her just barely over the edge.
So here's something that might derail that theory. Okay. Poll came out today that has Collins up by 8 points.
Yeah. But again, just like we said with Biden, there are going to be debates. There's going to be stuff that picks up. And I think Collins might be the only Republican that doesn't gain ground, or one of the only Republicans that doesn't gain ground, because Gideon is a more energetic figure and not hated by 60% of the state.
Yes, that's very fair. And also, Susan Collins has made the effort to distance herself from Trump.
Yeah.
So if there is some kind of a Trump surge, let's assume that she is not going to see the benefits.
Yeah.
Or if she does, it will be less so than other senators on this list. So Maine, we're calling a flip. That's our first flip that we've called this whole time.
Yeah.
So that brings the Democrats to 49 because they're already losing one in Doug Jones.
Has Massachusetts been declared yet? It doesn't look like it has.
It doesn't, no.
All right. Well, Ed Markey is in a race with Joe Kennedy III. Whoever wins, that's going to win the election. Former Governor Baker is actually running as a Republican, which is...
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, man, this is a much more complicated race than I gave it credit
I wouldn't say it's a definite. I think it surprisingly leans blue, but I think it stays blue regardless of if it's Markey or Kennedy.
Unpopular opinion, lean red.
Charlie Baker?
Charlie Baker has... So, I got two things for you.
Okay.
So, here's how Massachusetts politics works. I lived there for 4 years, so let me hit you with it. Massachusetts elects a specific kind of person to be their governor. Employees of Bain Capital and liberal Republicans. Okay? Mitt Romney, Deval Patrick, Charlie Baker. Liberal Republicans. I know we can't talk about it in the national context anymore, but in the context of Massachusetts politics, it is totally still a thing. Charlie Baker has handled the coronavirus about as well as you could hope. And every time that we on this show have talked about Larry Hogan or Mike DeWine, Charlie Baker is in that list, if not more so. And Boston had a bit of a mini spike around the same time, if not before the time that New York did. And so they have been micromanaging this relatively well. And that reveals itself, that I think will reveal itself in the polls.
So I agree with all that, but again, I think you need to think about up and down ballot elections. Massachusetts is pretty much an all blue house, if I remember correctly.
I
It's
think
going to
Kennedy
vote
would
blue.
beat him.
I think Markey would also.
I'm
Markey
not so sure.
Markey's a figurehead in Massachusetts Democratic politics.
He absolutely is.
He introduced the Green New Deal to the Senate. There's a reason he was the one that introduced it. It's because he is a solid seat that's not going to be threatened by introducing the Green New Deal. I think Baker's going to put up a significant challenge, but I think right now we can compromise on, surprisingly enough, Massachusetts being a toss-up.
I just do not sleep on Charlie Baker. He is a fantastic candidate. He's a gifted orator. And he is, because Massachusetts is a small state, because it literally is just Boston and its suburbs, it is kind of like, that's not entirely true. You also have the Adirondacks and things like that, but that's already solid red. The voting block that matters is it's Boston, basically, right? Like,
yeah.
How much turnout does Boston have for Democrats, or has Boston turned and supported?
Oh, sorry, I should mention Charlie Baker is not actually a candidate. Our bad. He declined running for the Senate. So he's not running. Though that poll that was published is speculative.
That's really awkward.
So in that case, take it
all
back. It's blue.
It's blue.
It's blue. Charlie Baker would be a very interesting candidate, especially if he ran
be
against Warren, who's a little more polarizing than Markey.
That's true. So I guess he's running for governor again.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
If he is, he'll win that.
Yeah, we're not predicting governorships, unfortunately, but
well, I'll predict
we
that.
We could, but that's later.
I'll predict it right now. Baker wins.
Let's look at the Michigan polls now. Peters is up. Kevin Peters, I believe. He is probably one of the more average senators. Gary Peters? But he remains popular nonetheless in the state. The other thing that's important to remember is that Gretchen Whitmer is popular within the state. Joe Biden's popular within the state. The Democrats right now running are going to stay popular in the state. I don't think it's going to be a blowaway. I think Peters is going to have a light blue, but I think it's going to stay Peters.
This is Michigan. It's a swing state. A slight victory is a victory.
Yeah.
In the same way that like a hard blue is. Let's just stop for a moment because I kind of want to talk about what we just did, because I feel like that's really interesting.
Okay.
There was a super good candidate running on one side, and suddenly, regardless of the fact that it's a very, very like uniform state, that race became competitive. Mm-hmm. Because Charlie Baker is an incredibly good fit and is incredibly popular in the state. That state became a swing state.
Yeah.
In that like little like fake universe we had just there. But then as soon as there is not such a good candidate, we have just a name brand Republican who's running, it doesn't matter. We don't even talk about it. I feel like that's just a really interesting thing. And there's a couple examples of that in some of these races, but not as many as you would hope.
Yeah. So next up, Minnesota. Tina Smith is running for re-election. Again, just like I said with the presidential election, I think the Democrats are going to stay energized. And I think it's going to stay blue.
There's the fact that Klobuchar is immensely popular, and and that is, to me at least, kind of a bellwether.
Continuing on, Mississippi, I think it's going to stay red, regardless of who they run.
I agree.
That's just the nature of it. Not Missouri, Montana. All right, here's another interesting one. Steve Bullock versus Steve Daines, or Matt Gaetz.
Yes. Bullock Daines. This is gonna be again another bellwether, and I think it's gonna be a knockdown, drag out fight.
Steve Bullock, yeah.
As soon as Bullock dropped out of the presidential race, everybody knew that this was going to be the Senate race to watch. Mm-hmm. Much, much more so than Susan Collins or Mitch McConnell, because Daines is the incumbent.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And Daines, so Google is unsure where my political alliance is. So I'll get ads from like super far left, like think tanks, and I'll also get ads for Trump. And I also am getting ads for Steve Daines. And all of the Republicans are pulling out stops for Steve Daines. They have Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Mitch McConnell, Trump, all talking about Steve Daines. You should donate to his campaign, call for him, like volunteer for him. So they're scared. That means their internal polling shows that Daines is not doing well. And the external polling is showing similar things.
In March, we have a March 19th poll that shows them in a dead heat, but that's before, before COVID. After COVID, we've got a May 5th poll conducted by Montana State University, which is actually, I think, pretty well renowned for its polling. Bullock up 7, and then another poll yesterday, Bullock up 4.
After Black Lives Matter, everything, and Bullock's up 14. Bullock's up 4. Up 4.
But let's assume that Black Lives Matter stuff is not going to impact a Montana Senate race.
Yeah. I think the Democratic base is going to be energized. I don't know if they're going to be energized enough. I think this is going to be the toss-up race to watch.
I actually think that Bullock is going to do pretty well. I think he's going to win by like 4 points.
So should we put it lean?
That's my take.
I don't know. I'm we thought that with Gianforte also.
Yeah, but Bullock was the governor. There is a really, really interesting dynamic of governor of, and again, calling back to Charlie Baker race that we created in our heads. There is a super, super interesting dynamic of governors when they turn over and run for Senate. Usually those governors do incredibly well, as long as they're popular. So we saw the same thing happen with Rick Scott in Florida.
Yeah.
That was it. I think the only example of, I think there was an election in Texas where that didn't happen, but this was also because Texas had a Democratic governor at the time.
That's the case, but also we're talking about Florida, Colorado here, not Montana.
And Montana is a very self-contained political sphere.
Yes.
Which is why I think that if Steve Bullock can win and can become governor, I don't see why he can't become senator.
That's true, yeah. Especially, we have it going solid red here, is the thing. And I think especially in this election where the Republicans are already pulling out all the stops, Trump's going to hold a campaign rally or two in Helena. And in Missoula.
I think that's fine.
And I think it's going to make it a toss-up. I don't think it leans Republican, but I think it's going to be a toss-up.
All right. Again, agree to disagree. I think it'll definitely it will lean blue. It'll be incredibly close.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's so close that I'm not comfortable enough putting it blue.
That's fair.
Next up is Nebraska. Running in Nebraska for re-election is down here. Ben Sasse. He's fine. He's super popular. He has a national profile. He'll be fine.
And look at that face.
Up next is not Nevada. Get your stuff together, 538.
Up
next is New Hampshire. Yes, here's another
super interesting one.
New Hampshire is...
Has it been decided who Shaheen is going to be facing?
Let us find out.
Jean Shaheen was in the vice presidential conversation for a little bit.
Jean Shaheen's, yes, she was.
So that says to me that the Democrats are banking on that being a safer seat.
Yeah, that's probably the case. It's probably going to stay.
Early March, there are not terribly many new polls in this. Early March had Shaheen dominating whoever won the Republican primary. That is not as close right now.
Is that the case?
Well, that's according to YouGov, and YouGov tends to underestimate the difference between. It tends to underestimate the margin of victory in its polls. So
would you put New Hampshire as a toss-up as well?
Toss-up, lean blue.
Which one?
Lean blue.
In blue. All right. That's where I was leaning. Also, I think that one's a little safer for the Democrats than Montana, which is why I think that one's lean blue, whereas Montana's not.
That's fair.
New Jersey, Cory Booker.
Easy.
Put it in the books.
Even if Republicans get it out, Cory Booker had some flagship bipartisan legislation passed.
Yeah.
He's going to win.
Lujan's up for re-election.
She'll
in
win.
New Mexico. She'll win. Again, she has a large national profile. She was in the vice presidential talks. I think it's a pretty solid.
Speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Not New York.
After that would be North Carolina. Tom Tillis is running against Cunningham. That's going to be another really big one.
Well, Tom Tillis is
also not super popular. And that's where it gets interesting, because Tillis is, again, not the most popular. He's more in the Cory Gardner field, where he's just like so meh that an exciting candidate can get people out.
Now, Cal Cunningham I don't really know where Cal Cunningham came into this election, to be completely honest with you, because he served in the North Carolina Senate from 2001 until 2003. Other than that, I remember being really confused about this race, because he was a politician that it seems like he's kind of been out of things for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just pull up I'm on the website now. I'll pull up the biography. Yeah, at the age of 27, he was elected one of the North Carolina's youngest state senators, representing Davidson, Rowan, and Iredell counties. And then basically after, so he joined the Army after 9/11, always good politically.
He lost a Senate campaign in 2010 and is back 10 years later. So he's, again, not the most energetic candidate.
It's like a recurring figure, but polls do have him winning. At least this poll taken yesterday, I guess.
Yeah.
No, not yesterday.
It's important to remember that a poll that happened 2 days ago, though, has it at a dead heat. So it's a tough to predict race, which is what that means. A poll 5 days before that had it, again, at pretty much a dead heat. It's going to be a close race. And one thing that I think might actually really be a big deal is, I forget his name, but there was the Republican that primaried. They're calling the Republican AOC, pretty much, where he's a like young, energetic, well-spoken, good-looking veteran
in North Carolina.
Stumping. And so he'll be out campaigning, and I think he's going to really energize the voters, at least in his district, but especially around that district, people that hear about him and want to, support him. Honestly, I think, especially since we have North Carolina leaning red, I think North Carolina leans red in the Senate also, especially with the House candidate who's already creating national profile before he's
Madison Cawthorn.
Yes, Madison Cawthorn.
All right, let's talk about our boy Madison here for a second, because first of all, can I just say he looks like the Alpha Chad meme, like came out of a drawing and became a congressional candidate. Now, so he is absolutely going to win. It's like you said, he's a super red district. It's going to be really weird. There's going to be a 25-year-old in Congress.
Yeah.
Now, he's a veteran, and that definitely is played I think a really large part in what catapulted him to victory over the Trump endorsed candidate.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Do you think that he's going to turn into kind of like a figure that Republicans are going to like parade around, saying like, "Oh, look at this"?
I think he's going to be a type of Dan Crenshaw type character, where he makes international headlines and is going to be elevated because of that. And I think because of that, he's also going to be out there campaigning for Tom Tillis and Donald Trump when the time comes. And vice versa. Donald Trump's going to be campaigning for Tom Tillis because he's be out there campaigning for Coughlin.
Yeah.
And getting him more energy.
Well,
so I think North Carolina leans red alongside Trump.
Well, it's not even that. Trump will be in North Carolina campaigning for himself.
That too, yes.
So, and that North Carolina definitely feels like a place to me, knowing a few people who live there now. It's a place to me where people are going to very much care about what the goings on up ballot. So that is definitely a race that will be won by other things that happen. So I think keeping it red is definitely safe.
Yeah. So up next are a few races that 538 hasn't updated. And then we get to Oklahoma. Jim Inhofe is running again. I think that shouldn't be a problem. I think it's pretty safe.
Yeah, it's Oklahoma.
Same with Sheldon Whitehouse in Rhode Island.
Easy.
New Island's small. It's blue. It's going to stay there. South Carolina, though, that's where we get interesting. And we have Harrison Graham.
Right.
So it's Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham running against Jamie Harrison. And
the fact that Lindsey Graham is in a dead heat in a Senate race kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because Lindsey Graham, I don't know, he is the last holdout of neocons, new conservatives, whatever. He is the last holdout of like George Bush leadership in the Republican Party, because that but he's only continued to exist because he's tried really hard to align himself with Trump.
Yeah.
And because he's in a guaranteed seat, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So all those other figures, whether it's McCain, Paul Wolfowitz, I need to have better names here. Wolfowitz wasn't even a politician. That's beside the point.
We'll continue. I think
the neocon strain of the Republican Party has died or evolved into the Trump strain. But Lindsey Graham has a massive national profile, and he's always tried to kind of cut himself as a little bit independent. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for him here, though.
I think it stays solid, him. I think, again, Trump's going to come out and campaign. He's going to want to keep the Senate majority as much as he can. And so I think it's going to stay red.
Okay.
I could be talked down to a lean, but I think it's probably a solid. No. Even though it's close now, again, I think they're going to pull it out.
Let's be real. If a South Carolina Senate seat goes blue, we're in for the wave among wave elections.
Yeah. Tennessee, some of the polls have it kind of close, but I think it's going to stay red. Tennessee is not really a state that's in contention,
regardless of who is challenging. I don't know if they've called the primary yet.
I'm not sure, but all
of these advanced polls though have Tennessee staying red by double-digit margins. I think that's pretty comfortable.
Yeah. Next, we get to Texas. Texas is a state. John Cornyn, the Senate Majority Whip, is running for re-election. If Ted Cruz could pull it off in a wave year, I think that's all we need to say. I think it's going to stay.
If Beto can't win, then
if Beto can't win against Ted Cruz, I don't think that's going to be an issue for a much more popular candidate to win, that being John Cornyn. So then we go to the next one that 538 correctly has listed, and that's Virginia. And that's actually Mark Warner running for re-election. Warner, again, very popular, especially in the North. He'll be able to get voter turnout out. Virginia moving blue in the presidential election.
Virginia is solidly blue. We can talk about Virginia's, state politics as its own thing, but the population is, the population is so freaking concentrated in Nova. It's not even a contest anymore.
It comes down to Nova and Richmond versus the rest of Virginia. Nova and Richmond's going to be voting super heavily blue. Our governor, despite his blackface past, has been doing a great job at managing the coronavirus and making reforms in Virginia. He's working on taking down Confederate monuments, things like that. So the Democratic voter base is going to stay energized. They're going to vote against Trump. They're going to vote against any other Republicans.
And in a completely cynical perspective, do you think government contracts will go up or down if Trump stays in office?
I think.
Okay, let me put it another way. Do you think that there's going to be a massive hiring boom if Biden is elected?
Long-term hiring, definitely, considering Trump's turnover rate. But generally, I think there are going to be more hirings, and also there's going to be more hirings once coronavirus is over anyway. Anyways, moving on, West Virginia. Morrissey's running for re-election. It's actually, Manchin's running for re-election.
Is he?
Manchin's running for re-election. Yeah.
I think that's an old poll. He was at 20.
Is it? Oh, wait, yeah, it is. West Virginia. Mike Enzi's running for re-election. Enzi.
West Virginia is the reddest state in the union. Sorry.
Not actually, but I think it's staying red for Enzi. They have a Democratic senator.
I think it's one of the most culturally red.
That's fair. And then lastly, Wyoming, and that is also going to stay red.
Yep.
Which gives us this very interesting breakdown, because let's say we have the Montana, we'll give Montana the only tilt rating that we're going to give, which makes it 50-50. And as we say, it's going to be pretty likely that the vice president is blue, making it a tied Senate.
And this is where the Democrats are going to find themselves in a really weird position. One of the episodes that we need to do in the future is we need to talk about the efficacy of the filibuster. Because here's the thing. If you want to get universal health care done, if you want to get any coronavirus stimulus package or police reform worth its salt, if you want to get that done, you need 60 votes, or you're gonna have to get rid of the filibuster. And usually,
yes and no, or you can wait out the filibuster. It just is. It's a slightly more time consuming process, but it's doable. And especially so, we'll get into this more. But my counterpoint is the amount of popularity that the Republicans will lose by constantly filibustering everything.
I agree.
Compared to the amount of popularity is equally as large as the amount of popularity the Democrats will lose when the Republicans are going to be able to spin the Democrats don't want to actually have a democracy when they get rid of the filibuster.
Yep. No, I would much prefer the filibuster to stay intact, but there is definitely an argument side now of the Democratic Party, because you can track. There's a lot of papers on this. I'm not going to go into it now, but basically throughout the past 40 years, the way that American politics has gone is the Republican Party will usually break some kind of taboo, and then the Democrats will follow them 2 to 4 years later, right? Mm-hmm. So you have in 2012, you have the Tea Party. 2018, you have AOC. That's put in the simplest way I possibly could. So usually the Democrats are not the party to break taboo, but if there was ever a time when I think they would consider it, it would be if you have a 50-50 majority, when even if one Democrat crosses the line, it's we've got problems. And because in this scenario, the Democrat that we are worried about is Steve Bullock, and that is such a concerning seat.
Another kind of interesting fact, I believe Joe Biden never broke a tie as vice president. I believe he is the only president to have never No, he's not. There have been some other ones that haven't broken ties, but he's the most recent that has not ever broken a tie. So it'd just be, fairly ironic having his vice president who will inevitably break many, many ties in the Senate, if this is indeed the case, whoever she may be.
But again, any of these races could change drastically. We don't.
Yeah, most of these races could change drastically. Now on to the big meat of the show.
All right, here's
that
boy
monstrosity. All right, let's speed through where we can. Yeah, Alabama,
it's going to stay.
Okay. Alaska.
Wait. I gotta get my polls up. Right.
Alaska. Don Young has been in here almost as long as my parents have been alive. He's going to stay. He's running for his 25th term. He'll be fine.
Okay.
Up next, Arizona. Here's what actually starts to get interesting.
Arizona 1, we have a really close race between O'Halloran and Rogers.
Yeah.
O'Halloran is up by 2 in a super old poll, so that's actually never mind. That's completely useless.
O'Halloran's running for re-election.
Okay.
I think again, Arizona, blue.
All right.
That's what I say for 1 and 2.
Depends on how Mesa is gerrymandered, and also Phoenix.
Yes. So this is Phoenix in here. Let's zoom into Phoenix so we can see. 6 is going to be the one that's interesting, because I believe that's the suburbs where it determines everything.
Well, we have a 5th-term congressman who is running for his 6th term in there, David Schweikert.
And again, if you look in here, in
lockstep with President Trump,
I think he's gonna probably stay safe here.
Yeah, 10% is not going to disappear.
Whoa. Not that.
No.
That's not what I wanted. I think that it's honestly there.
That's fine.
I think that's what we're looking at. All right. Arkansas. I don't think. No, I'm sorry. Little Rock's not going blue. Okay. California.
Right. Yeah, California is definitely worth a couple of exasperated sighs over.
Okay, so LA suburbs, I think they're going to stay blue.
I don't see
Democratic voter base coming out full force.
There's also a couple of very noteworthy. Katie Porter is a good example of this. There's a handful of very notable California Congress people who
came with
the blue wave. They've made waves once they hit Congress. Because they were
next we have Mike Garcia up in Cal 25.
Garcia is
it first term.
He's going to do very well, I think. Not only does we talked about Garcia a little bit a couple of episodes ago, as an example of a pretty effective congressman when it comes to fitting his district. It's the district is San Diego. Am I correct?
No, it's Northern California or Northern Los Angeles area. So I think Beverly Hills-ish area, maybe slightly north Hollywood Hills.
I'm pretty sure Mike Garcia was.
This is California 25 in Los Angeles. San Diego's down there.
Okay. This was if I'm not mistaken, Garcia was a veteran and a contractor, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, and the voting base in California 25 is that economy swings depending on on government contracts. So that's why I'm saying that he is going to do well, despite the fact
that this is the case.
Yes.
So you think he's going to, would you say here or here?
Yeah, lean. Obviously lean, because it's a swing district, but
yeah.
It's where the Democrats will look to pick one up, but I think they'll struggle.
Here we're looking at San Francisco. I think it's going to be the same story as Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
Voter base coming out. All right, let's zoom out. We have a few more districts to cover.
All right, let's look at 21.
21. TJ Cox, another blue wave person coming in. So I think here's where it gets interesting. He was in a super tight race back in 2018, barely squeaked it out. But if you look at the margin of victory in the 2016 election, it was 15%. I think that puts him at lean. Just because he might get carried, he's going to get pushed a bit by Joe Biden. I don't think it's enough to make it a definite, but I think he's going to get pushed a bit.
I agree.
Devin Nunes.
Ooh, here's one. Talk about a national profile having a weird impact on your race, because he is incredibly unpopular, but he's
unpopular nationally.
In his district.
Yeah,
he's pretty good in his district. And usually, if you're popular in your district and unpopular nationally, you do well.
Yeah, keep in mind, 90% of Congress people in the House get reelected.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm putting this solid red. What do you think?
Lean red.
Lean red?
There have been a string of Republican congressmen who've had some scandals, and I feel like Nunes is next up.
We'll find out.
We will see.
Yeah. All right. So those are the California ones that are actually competitive.
Again,
I trust the consensus on the rest.
If there's any state that's going to be changed by scandal, it's California.
Yeah. All right.
Not only because it has the most races, but just because, on, it's California. All right. Let's talk Colorado.
As I said earlier, it's a very polarized state. I feel like we can just keep it nice and polarized.
Yeah.
But let's double check this.
Let's look at two. Let's look at the second district, because that one.
2 was already solid.
All right.
6 and 3 were the iffy ones. So let's look at 6 first. 6, you have Jason Crow, who won above the margin in 2016. I think that makes him fine.
That's generally a bellwether that we are going to use, by the way.
Yeah.
You look at how they did compared to the president.
Scott Tipton, though, got primaried, so he's not running for re-election. Who primaried him, you ask? That's a good question.
What race is this? Colorado.
Colorado 3.
Colorado in the 3rd district. What does Ballotpedia have to say about this?
John Salazar. No, that's who he took over.
No, it is Tipton.
It said he got primaried.
Oh, you're right. He did get primaried. Okay.
So who's his competitor?
Lauren. There we go. Lauren Boebert.
Okay.
So let's get her biography down. Interesting. So she did.
She's the owner of the Shooter's Grill. So it made national news because they open carry. All the waiters open carry.
No, but she made national news for two reasons. She first of all, waiters open carry, and also she actively refused to shut down in March. She refused to close her restaurant down.
Pro-freedom, pro-guns, pro-constitution, pro-energy, pro-life, pro-Colorado, pro-America, as her website says.
I really just like the idea of somebody being pro-energy. No, you should sit on the couch all day. I'm anti-energy.
So, I don't know. I think this one probably stays red. She seems like a good, energetic candidate. The Republican Party obviously has the energy to elect someone new, which, again, is only 10% of the case. And
that's
probably
true.
way, way less in primary. Someone probably looking at about 2% of the case, which means the Republican Party was ready for a change, and they're probably going to be pretty energized about a new young candidate, especially a new young national news candidate.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Colorado is going to look like.
All right.
Up next, Connecticut.
Okay.
Connecticut.
I think you're on the wrong tab.
Oh, sorry, I just paused. Here we go. Connecticut.
All right, Connecticut. It's
Connecticut.
So well gerrymandered.
It's
a work of
art. The best gerrymandered state because it should be. If you look at it, and I think 538's gerrymandering thing will show this. These two districts should both be red. These three should be blue, and these two should be, or this one and this one should be red. Something along those lines. There should be two red districts, and they gerrymandered it so there are 5 blue. Brilliantly done, Democratic Party. No, change
genius.
It.
It's horrible, but it's genius.
Yes. So very well done, and that means it's going to stay blue. Delaware, blue. Florida.
What a mess.
Florida.
America's gun-shaped state. Don't run away from Florida just because you don't want to have to predict 20-something seats.
Florida.
Put that back on the screen. You're looking at, what is that?
Miami area.
Oh, Miami area. I thought you were looking at Arkansas, and I was like, get that back. Get Florida back here.
We're looking at Florida now.
You have to look at it for a change rather than just look at its mugshots.
All right, so 26 and 27. We have a first term and a second term. So those districts both went very hard clean, which means they're not pro-Trump districts.
But they barely won.
The candidates are not super strong. 6% is still a good bunch. So I'd say 27 is probably safe.
Let me look at 26 though, because there's a poll taken in. Now, again, grain of salt. The most recent poll that I've got access to on Florida 26 was taken in August of 2019, but it had her up by 12 points.
Okay, that was August. That was when Kamala Harris was still a serious contender for the president.
I'm just saying.
A lot's changed since then, and I honestly think that's a toss-up.
It's a toss-up. Florida is such a wacky state, and who knows the political effects of their mask policy.
It leans blue, but I think it's a toss-up now.
Honestly, I think it leans red, but that's definitely one where I would leave it just completely
toss-up.
All right, let's get to Tampa Bay. Will Tom Brady bring the Democrats? Actually, I don't know.
Charlie Crist, and
what is this?
Ross
14th
Spano.
district.
13.
We do have a poll in the 13th district that's got
he's fine.
Crist up by 7. Look at that margin.
Killing it compared to the presidential election. So
exactly,
he should be fine.
Popular candidate in district is generally what we want to go by.
Ross Spano also probably fine.
Probably.
I mean, it's a Trump district. It's a Trump district. It's going to stay a Trump
Florida
district.
15 has so he won by 2 points. All right. He was polled by 2 points.
He won by 6 points.
Okay.
Trump won by 10 points. I think it's going to stay him pretty safely.
Yes, I would agree.
All right. And then actually let's look at 16 because that's not one of our colors.
This seems like the district polls blue, but it turns out red.
I think 16 is also solid red if we're looking at it, just because it's, again, same story. where it's strong Trump,
Yep.
pretty strong candidate.
Yeah, and he did even better than the last guy. So.
All right, and Orlando, done. All right, awesome.
Yeah, Orlando, well gerrymandered. Good job, Republicans.
All right, and that's what we're looking like for Florida. Woo, next. Georgia.
This is why we need the Electoral College. I mean the popular vote. Wait,
Georgia. All right, Atlanta. We have 2 suburbs that are swing, and it's a Democrat and a Republican. The Republican who's not running for re-election, Rob Woodall.
This is Georgia 7, right?
Georgia 6 and Georgia 7. Oh, so boy.
In
look at
Georgia
those margins of victory.
7, oh, boy. Woodall got primaried, so
yes.
he's being replaced by, who is this man? McCormick.
He didn't get primary. He's retiring.
Retiring. All right, good for him. Yeah, 5 terms. So Dr. Rich McCormick, military, naturally. Let's see this. Oh wow! When you open his website, the first picture is a picture of him. Looks like he's wheeling somebody to the ER. Interesting choice. Not necessarily a bad one though. He's definitely got the genes and belt to be a Republican.
He's a doctor, school medicine, MBA,
a Marine. Yeah, sounds like a total package to me.
And Marine and Navy veteran. Medic in Afghanistan.
You've got some. There's going to be some conflicted veterans here who are looking at this like, huh? Marine Corps people.
Which one is that? Is that 6 or 7?
This is in 7.
I put that as lean towards him.
Absolutely.
It is the Atlanta suburbs, which is why I'm not putting it solid towards him, but he's a great candidate for that district.
Yep.
6. So we have Lucy McBath running in a very, very tight. Honestly, I might just keep this one as a toss-up because she barely won, Trump barely won.
Yep.
It's going to come down to everything that happens in the next 4 months.
A recent poll had her losing by 2 to the Republican challenger.
It's going to be close. I think we can keep it.
All right. Next up, Hawaii blue. Next.
Yep. Next. Okay. Idaho red.
Red. Next.
Illinois. All right. Oh, okay. Another great gerrymandering here.
I don't
so
know
they
if
take
your
high populations. Sorry.
updated.
Resume. Illinois.
There we go.
Another great gerrymander here, where you take the population, just move it out into the suburbs, so you get all those African Americans voting for the Democrats in place of the people in the suburbs. Well done.
It is great.
All right. Now, let's talk about Sean Caston and Lauren Underwood. Sean Caston should be safe, I think, with a 7 and a 7. I'd put him safe.
Yeah, I mean, if the district went for Clinton by 7
Lauren
points,
Underwood. She's a popular candidate considering her district.
I'll say.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that
4%
margin.
Trump district, 5% her. I think that's
if she survived in 2016, then
she's new. She's 2019.
Wave year, keeper.
Yes. You think
Black women are going to do very well if they are already in office.
A lean or a?
Oh, I'd say solid.
Okay.
It's a Trump district in 2016 that the Democrats swung by, what was that, 10 points, 8 points?
8 points. So we're looking at a solid blue block Chicago. We have Sherry Bustos over here, though. I mean, that speaks for itself. That speaks for itself.
And again, popular candidates that fit the district tend to do really well. So it doesn't matter. Trump won her district?
Barely. But she
crushed it in the wave year. And this will be her fifth term when she inevitably wins.
Up next, we have Rodney Davis. In a close race, he's not as popular as Trump is in the district, and Trump's not particularly popular in the House. Illinois 13.
Right before that election happened in 2018, they were polling it a dead heat.
In 2018.
In 2018.
He won by 1 peg.
So he is winning in spite of the president in 2016. And he's an incumbent holdover. That's going to be tough. That might be one that the Republicans are concerned about, but I think
he's running against Betsy Londrigan, who is...
She ran against him last time, I think.
Yeah, and she's running against him again, it looks like.
I don't like that. That does not bode well for Democrats. So keep it lean red.
I think, generally, if it's going to go back to back like that, they're going to stick with who they like, and I think that's where it is. And there we go. All right. After Illinois, we have Indiana. I think this is Indianapolis. This is slightly north, so this is like Muncie area and suburbs. Susan Brooks. I think that's safe. I think that's safe.
Incredibly safe. Why is that?
Fourth term.
The president won by more than 10 points.
There it is. Not running for re-election.
Oh, yeah, worth. All right, Indiana
Susan
5.
Brooks. Yeah.
Ooh, we've got this. Oh, okay, wait. So who is this? We got Indiana 5. So you've got another example. When you've got a popular incumbent leaving, it leaves a power vacuum of sorts.
Yeah. And the current poll has the Democrat up by 6
points, and it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight, is what it seems like. This is a district, however, that has gone red for president for the past 5 elections.
Ever this entire millennium, it's voted red.
Yeah. However, is there an issue?
And it's had a red congressperson since 1993. So
what is the issue with our friend Victoria Spartz here? The New York Times is covering it, so it's definitely all right. Where's your website? The fact that it didn't come up immediately is concerning, to say the least.
All right. Ballotpedia, I'm on right now.
Member of the Indiana State Senate, was elected in 2017. Let's see.
Are you talking about Victoria Spartz or Christy? All right, I'm looking at Christina Hale.
She was actually
both
that's
are
interesting.
Members of the House.
So Victoria Spartz actually has never won a race. She was appointed to fill the seat of a resigning incumbent of the state Senate. Let's see. So
Christina Hale, I just want to say her slogan is "Hale Yes," which I think I put it lean towards her just for that.
I just want to look at the Spartz's biography. She received an MBA from the National University of Economics in Ukraine, which is honestly just kind of awesome. Let's see. Vice chair of the Hamilton County Republican Party, Republican Women's Club. Okay, so she's just working. Yeah, wow.
Meanwhile, Christina Hale's also a single mom.
Always does well.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be a very close race. It looks like 2 good candidates running against each other.
I don't know how good of a candidate Spartz is.
So then would you say, I think Nikki or Hale's a very, very solid candidate for a district, which is why you're seeing her up by 6 right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to stay. I think it's going to be close, but I think it's going to stay.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Lean?
I think it's definitely lean. It's going to be a close race.
Yeah. All right. Iowa. Wow.
That'll be interesting.
So Steve King got primaried. Steve King got primaried.
Amazing, by the way. The significance of Steve King getting primary is
it's a nice little F you to the white supremacists.
Yeah.
Iowa 1. Iowa 4 even looks like a close race, though.
All right, let's talk Iowa 1 real quick. All right, Finkenauer versus Hinson.
Finkenauer is a blue wave.
These are all out of the...
All 3 of these candidates are blue wave candidates. 1, 2, and 3.
Which is... That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. So, if you look, I think but Lowesback is not running for the best candidate.
Oh, well, okay, but it's his 7th term.
Yeah, it's his 7th term. He's retiring, even though he's the most popular out of all the Iowa Democrats.
All right. And these are all, oh, wow.
I think Finkenauer is a solid lean. I think that one we can say lean pretty solidly, considering she swung that district 8%.
March 19th, 2020. So here's an important thing for Iowa, right? USMCA is massively important there.
Yeah.
The trade deal. USMCA, even though it only went into effect today, I mean, literally today, the big ratings boost, the press release about it came out in January of 2020.
Yeah.
And here we are with a poll 3 months later, and the Democrat is up by 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything's going to sell in Iowa, it's going to be that trade deal.
But the thing is, I'm guessing all of these candidates that are going to be running are going to be in favor of USMCA and are going to say Trump did a good job. A lot of people did. I mean, Bob Casey did, Sherrod Brown did. Even Trump and Warren were in favor of USMCA.
Sanders and Warren, you mean?
Sanders and Warren weren't.
Was Sanders in favor?
Sanders was initially in favor of it, I believe. I don't know if he ended up voting in favor of it, but I know he initially came out and congratulated Trump on negotiating that deal. It was a pretty bipartisan deal among the Trump Republicans and the populist Democrats. It's a very pro-populist deal. And so I think, especially in Iowa, which is such a populist state, it's going to stay.
All right, let's talk.
I think Finkenauer is lean blue.
Yeah, Finkenauer is lean blue. Cindy Ann, I'm not as sure about. Who's she running against? Let's figure that out. Ballotpedia. That is Iowa 3?
Yeah. So Steve King, they're keeping it solid red even though he got primaried, and that's because it's a 27% win by Trump. So I think it's going to stay red pretty much regardless of who they run, as long as they're not as racist as Steve King. Steve King's a great example of a candidate who shouldn't be in their district and isn't anymore.
Hey, I'd love to see a graph of Steve King's popularity go down over the years because I'm pretty sure it's pretty dramatic. Okay, I'm trying to find, Iowa 3. Okay, wait. Let me see if there's any polls worth looking at here. There are no polls worth looking at in Iowa 3, other than the fact that, so...
And I say we keep that one a toss-up.
Other than the fact that, I think I would actually put it lean red. Let me just... Who is she running against, does it say? Because I don't have a poll that says.
I don't either, no. So, right. but Iowa 2 was actually a pivot district. It voted for Trump, and that's the first Republican it's voted for since 2000. So I think Iowa 2, in a strong year for Democrats, Iowa 2, in a strong year for Democrats, is going to stay a strong year for, I think it's going to stay slightly strong for Democrats, and I think it's going to stay lean blue.
Let's also not sugarcoat it. Iowa's been hit pretty hard. Iowa hasn't been hit, but Iowa, relative to its population, has been hit hard by COVID. That generally tends to work out in the Democrats' favor, from a horribly cynical political standpoint. And this is also where the meat packing place that we talked about a few months ago is located in, where as soon as the management tested itself, they found a high rate of COVID positive, high rate of management had COVID. So then they, rather than just testing their workers, decided not to test anybody and said, hey, everybody, keep coming to work. You're fine.
Yeah, and with this district that you mentioned, again, I'm going to agree with you on lean red just because red, lean red.
Exactly.
I think the down ballot is going to be affected by the up ballot. All right, I'm actually going to pull up.
All right, we've got some PTSD from this one. No, come on, don't do it. Don't do it.
This was Paul Davis's district, unfortunately.
There's nothing but pain here.
And so let's look at who is replacing the grand legacy of
the greatest politician who ever lived.
So Steve Watkins, the carpetbagger from New York, is running for re-election, and Michelle De La Isla and James Windholtz are running to oppose him. So let's look at their websites real quick, right?
James Windholtz is rough.
First we have Michelle De La Isla.
Not going to sugarcoat it.
Pretty, well-made website, well-designed, looks good, but
hey, she's got that red-blue endorsement. That's new.
She has a red-blue endorsement. She has an NCIS endorsement.
Emily's
List. Not the best thing for a Kansas Democrat is an Emily list. Yeah. It's kind of a Doug Jones type situation.
Paul Davis would have never been endorsed by Emily's list.
But what you see
that's
here,
kind of a bad thing to say. He might have been.
Yeah, that's
but he certainly
it's very clearly Democrat. It's not my story. It's our story.
The blue font, the blue
font, blue everything
of the page.
Yeah, it's very clearly
You've got the red donate buttons, but that's just to draw our attention using, color psychology.
Yeah. So that's her website. She has stuff about her. It's a well-made website.
Let's look at James Windholz because
now let's look at
James
James Windholz.
Good. It's not good.
Here's what we're looking at.
I mean,
he had campaign issues. That's new. That is new.
Oh, that is new. The only thing that's missing on this website is the .wixsite.com.
So he is an Eagle Scout, a carpenter, a Kansas graduate.
I gotta respect that.
Master's degree in poli-sci.
Anything new other than
obviously not a design in computer science or doing computer science. Campaign issues. Not. That's okay. Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ, Green New Deal, and no border wall.
As much as I love
universal health care, pro-choice.
Did he just take this all off of Facebook and put it on
his looks website? like what he took off his Instagram and Snapchat stories.
All right. I don't necessarily disagree with your policy positions, but my friend, run in New York City.
Yeah, this is not the
I don't think I don't think he's going to win though. Clearly he's poorly funded.
Yeah. Steve Watkins has this election in a heartbeat. Even though he pulled it out by only 0.8% against
hey. Let's give that a minute now, cuz that is winning in a Democratic rave year.
That 0.8 was also against a perfect candidate for the district.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, he's winning that.
It's a huge Trump district. I think this one, though, Sharice Davids stays.
Oh, she absolutely will stay.
She killed it. She's a great candidate for a district. She's staying.
Yeah, and that's the district that catapulted the Kansas governorship into the hands of the Democrats.
Yeah. All right. Kentucky. I think this looks about right. I think we can shore up here.
Let's just look down and make sure that there's nothing.
Andy Barr, 15% Trump. He's not the most popular, but Trump is going to be campaigning his butt off in Kentucky for Mitch McConnell. He's going to be campaigning his butt off in Louisville for Mitch McConnell, or in Lexington. Sorry.
That's true.
Yeah. So I think Andy Barr is going to stay.
Yeah,
I think
the president's incredibly popular there. Let's assume that.
Especially since we also have McConnell squeaking out a victory here, I think it's going to help him out also there.
All right,
Louisiana, gerrymandered. Up next, Maine. All right, this is a big one because this one will affect that one because Maine too. Maine. Okay. Side note: I think Maine and Nebraska do the Electoral College right because it's not winner take all; it's winner take district. And then popular vote take the rest. And I think that's the perfect way to do the Electoral College. I think if you're going to do the Electoral College, this gives it a little bit more democracy, make sure that people's voices are heard in a more accurate way. And especially if you combine it with gerrymandering and actually have fair districting, states in districts in California become competitive. Those areas that we were talking about outside of LA, outside of San Francisco, Republicans get votes from California, Democrats get some vote from Texas. I think ultimately it's going to be much better for our democracy. But we can talk about electoral college reform and gerrymandering in a different episode.
Yeah.
Maine 2.
Maine 2.
Right now we have, just to remember, we have the Democrats winning the general election in Maine, the Democrats winning the Senate election in Maine. That's a good sign for them. But
so it's
Maine is Maine.
Golden, I believe, is the incumbent, if I'm not mistaken.
Golden is the incumbent, yes. But the polls on 538 are from 2018. They haven't polled it yet.
And his election was also decided by ranked choice voting, which is an interesting situation.
So he pushed it over 11 points from Trump to House, but he only ended up winning by 1. Again, I think Trump's probably going to pull out a campaign stop in Maine.
Oh, easily.
And I think
let's and if there's an area of the state where they're not going to care about Susan Collins' unpopularity, it's there.
Yeah. And that means I think we also make that exactly where we have it over there.
Yes. The primary still has yet to be decided, though. They're not voting until July 14th.
Again, this is our way, way, way too early prediction. Maryland, great gerrymandering, pushing all the Republicans all over into one district. Excellent job, Maryland. Almost as good as Connecticut. Massachusetts, again, we should have 2 or 3 Republican districts. Great job, Massachusetts. You're doing great.
It's not as gerrymandered as you think because, again, Massachusetts is such a weird state.
Yeah.
Because for national elections, they are consistently blue, but for state elections, it's very much a toss-up. All right, Michigan.
So let's start down here. Again,
Detroit? Yes, Detroit.
I think Detroit's going to solidify. Let's look at Michigan 8, though, because I'm not positive about that.
Amash is going to... Oh, he's not running for re-election?
No, he's done.
Oh, it's because he's running for president.
He dropped out also.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Joe Jorgensen is the Libertarian candidate. And Vermont Supreme came in like third. She. So we are looking at an 8. She swung it pretty hard in 2019. She ended up winning by almost 4 percentage points. I think having it lean her is the right move.
Yes.
I don't think it's solid.
I definitely agree.
We're looking over at Amash's district.
It's lean. The polls are. This is in Michigan. What? That's Michigan 3, right?
That was Michigan 8. Now we're looking at Michigan 3. 8. Michigan 3 says lean Republican right now.
Let's keep Michigan 8 lean blue. Michigan 3, I am.
Again, the primary is not decided.
The primary is not decided, but probably once the Republicans solidify around their candidate, it will be decided. Can you check the district just to see how much it went for Trump?
9%.
Yeah, let's.
I think lean is the right choice. I think lean's also the right choice for Fred Upton in 6, who's not as popular as Trump. I think he's going to get carried.
Scroll down.
Probably.
Was that his first term?
No, 17th.
17th. Yeah, but if it's his 17th term and he won by 4.5 points in a wave year, let's call it comfortably.
Okay, so it looks like Long John is his counterpart, and they are polling above him right now in the most. Well, that was in 2018. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say put him even if his opponent is polling above him and he pulled it out.
We can reevaluate that in October.
Yeah, I agree.
Minnesota. Like I said earlier, I think Minnesota is really going to stiffen up, especially around Minneapolis. I think that's not going to be that much of a problem for Democrats. Let's look around
Minnesota.
Here,
what is that? Minnesota 7?
1, 7, and 8 are the ones we're looking at. Let's look at
Minnesota
1
first. 1 has a nice poll out here that has the Democrat Feehan getting absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, so the candidate is not super popular. He barely squeaked out a victory in the Democratic wave year. But 15% Trump.
No, the number that you're missing isn't the 5% isn't the 5% that he won by. It's the year where he won by 5%.
Yeah, 0.5%. Or 0.5%.
So let's assume that if a Republican can succeed in that district in a Democratic wave year,
he should be fine. He's a new person also, so he came in during the Democratic wave year. Squeaked out a victory in a super pro-Trump district. I think it stays. Now we're looking at 7 and 8.
Hagedorn is winning by 16 points. Okay. Minnesota 7 is what we're on now?
I think 8 also stays red. Yeah, 7 is the
7 has no polls on it that
7,
I can see.
Oh, so 30% Trump district.
Whoa.
This is his 15th term, and he's won by 4.2%.
Who's he running against? Let's look that up. What is this, Minnesota?
Peterson. 7.
Minnesota 7. All right, here we go. Ballotpedia. Let's go. Another great website, by the way. Ballotpedia usually doesn't have a ton of good information, but if you just want to know like what is going on,
it's a great launch point, just like Wikipedia.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I think the Republicans are still having their primary, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they have a few candidates. It doesn't look like they have an official candidate yet, which is why I think.
Did they postpone it? No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, they're postponing it until August. So we have no idea what's going to happen.
I think right now we put it lean just because he is a 15-term congressman.
I agree.
I think it's a close district, which is why I can't say definite, but he's a 15-term congressman. He's been there for 30 years. Mississippi.
Well, actually, let me just make sure that he's not getting primaried, because if there was ever a place where somebody would get primaried in this environment in Minnesota, this is definitely something where I think that might happen. Okay, so we have that. Okay. Stephen Emery. Who's this guy?
Yeah, Emery and Alicia Gruhagen, German last name.
As a charismatic African American candidate would do well.
Yeah, especially in
that primary. Stephen Emery is not.
All right, I'm pulling up the campaign website so our viewers can see this. Stephen A. Emery, pro-life, pro-traditional family, pro-private enterprise, responsible immigration, as a constitution originally intended.
Yeah, he seems like a Democrat, right?
Okay, so I don't think he's going to be very successful in primary.
And Alicia Gruenhagen doesn't even have a website, so.
No, she just has a Facebook. So I think we can keep it here.
Yep.
All right, next, Mississippi, gerrymandered. Missouri.
Epic. Gerrymander.
St. Louis.
Let's look St. Louis.
Ann Wagner since 2013. Ooh, yeah, I think she'll be fine. I think lean is the exact right thing for her.
Yeah, lean.
The 10% Trump, it's only 4% for her. It's her fourth term.
In a late February poll, she's winning by 10 points. I think that's pretty safe.
And look at that nice gerrymander right there, by the way. Get the Kansas City people in with the rest.
Yeah.
Montana.
Oh, boy.
Greg
Here we go again.
Greg Gianforte, I think, again, since we have red, blue, and something. Gianforte is he's not running for re-election. Interesting. That makes it more interesting.
Okay, so we have Rosendale and Williams, but we've got the Republican Rosendale up by 9 points.
So you think Montana's House is going to stay red?
I am inclined to say that, yes. I just to see the.
There are a bunch of. Oh, that's Indiana. I don't know why Indiana's down here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's probably going to stay.
Gianforte may have just not been a terribly successful candidate, because
Gianforte was a super polarizing candidate. He was the one that body slammed a reporter because they asked him a tough question.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, body slamming a reporter is probably not the best way to succeed.
No. So it's Kathleen Williams versus Matt Rosendale.
I'm trying to figure this out. The primaries are okay. Yeah, Kathleen Williams, Matt Rosendale. The primaries are still ongoing,
but they're the presumptive winners. It looks like. All right. Let's look at their websites here. So we have Kathleen Williams, a fighter from Montana.
You know, it's lean Democrat, but actually it's kind of a well-made
econ, website. And environment.
Outdoor heritage. That's actually some exquisite branding there.
Issues. Let's see what she's looking at. Growing, diversifying economy, getting healthcare to people.
That's really good, actually.
This is, fighting for rural Montana, rebuilding a broken Congress, education, advocating. This is like exactly what you need to win over a moderate voter. But
although let's not pretend to understand Montana politics, because we definitely
let's look at Matt Rosendale.
Okay, can I just say real quick? Matt Rosendale's splash, like the top of Matt Rosendale's page, looks like an ad for Matt Rosendale.
Well, it's because he's the Commissioner of Securities and Insurance, which is why they don't have. It's not. He doesn't actually have a campaign page. It looks like he's just running.
Oh,
from here.
He's running from his campaign page.
And he's the Commissioners of Securities and Insurance in the Office of the Montana State Auditor. Honestly,
maybe he should audit his own website, because he shouldn't be advertising himself on a state platform.
I might put it here, and that would help justify putting that there.
Look. Let's not turn this into Paul Davis 2.0, all right? I know what you're saying. Who was the candidate who we liked? Williams.
Let's keep an eye out.
She's losing by 9 points.
Okay, but
as of yesterday.
Paul Davis was not killing it at the beginning. He picked up. And keep in mind, we have a global pandemic going on right now.
Look, I hope you're right. Rosendale's up by 10. or 9 points as of yesterday.
Okay. All I'm saying is it's possible.
Well, we said that last time.
And it became a 0.8% race.
We'll see. We'll see.
It's possible. That's all I'm saying. Which is
all I'm saying is
keep an eye out.
All right, Nebraska.
Are you? I'm feeling confident in her.
Look, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Nebraska. We have a poll that was taken on May 12th. Democrat Eastman is actually up by a point in Nebraska 2.
Ooh, against Don Bacon, a second-term Republican in a very
that is a razor-thin district. Really? Why? Let's look up this Eastman chap.
Nebraska. Up by a point. He ran in 20. It looks like the same race.
Good SEO. So she is actually. All right, let's do this. This is a well-made website. She's definitely a Democrat, but her whole campaign is okay. Real talk. I have no idea what this is, but she kind of looks like Nebraska Yang.
Interesting. I'm pulling it up now.
Here's why. Her whole thing is called the Eastman Equity Plan, which just sounds like a very
Eastman Bacon.
I opened her website. The first thing I saw was the equity plan. Okay.
All right, here we go. Carrie Eastman. I'm pulling it up now. Doing politics differently. Eastman Equity Plan is now alive. Yeah. All right. What is Eastman Equity Plan? This is the main.
Interesting.
Okay. So it's. Affordable housing. This is very interesting. Yeah, it's a very
well made.
It's like part Buttigieg, part Yang.
Yeah, the equity plan, the freedom dividend.
Yeah, all right, and then we're looking at Don Bacon on the other hand, which we'll get to. But
his name is Don, so
he has a store. It's a good sign if someone has a store. That means they have a little bit of cash on hand.
Yeah.
Issues though. Let's see what she's on the issues. Doing politics differently. Again, a great flyover country.
She has
very well
curated this website to perfection.
All right,
because when I opened up the issues page, I don't know about you, but it redirected me to a survey.
That's the first thing, yeah. But
he wants to spend on infrastructure. That's her first sentence of the economy page.
More on infrastructure, gun safety, universal background checks.
That's a hard sell, especially as your second issue.
Yeah.
But I can understand where she's coming from.
Human right. Transformer. Okay, so she doesn't say Medicare for all. That's really important.
Good start. It means that she has got this branding down.
Yeah. Immigration.
Nebraska has over 100,000 immigrants. That hits different.
Hiring more immigration judges and fully staffing ports of entry.
There you go.
So that's
the way that you need to go on this.
Income inequality. That's a very interesting way of putting taxation.
Calling out the GOP tax plan.
But I just want to say, framing raising taxes on the rich as changing income inequality is very smart. That's a very good way of
absolutely. Because income inequality is an issue that both parties are trying to play on right now.
I believe we have about the same income inequality as like Rwanda, and not like if you look at our Gini coefficients. Let's do it quick.
Our Gini coefficient is in the mid-50s, I believe.
Let's do a quick little.
I'm a little
tangent here.
Yikes! I'm a little upset that I don't know that off the top.
We'll do World Bank by percentage. So
scroll down because you've got to get through Africa and South America.
So let's just United States 55 at a Gini coefficient of 40, alongside Haiti and Argentina. If you look at,
you were 55th.
Yeah, if you look at some better ones, down here you got Slovenia with 24. You got like Algeria twice as good. Maldives, Lebanon. Like if Lebanon, Tunisia, and Pakistan can figure out income inequality, regardless, Great way of framing that. Racial and social justice.
That speaks for itself. Actually, wait, let's actually see her
reforming affordable housing, debt-free education, workforce development.
Yep, that's the way to do it.
Reforming criminal justice
restoring our democracy. I love the fact that she devotes a section of her campaign to Citizens United, and the best part about it is that it both exists.
No corporate PACs.
Her section on Citizens United exists, and it's in the proper place, because don't waste the top 5 slots with a obscure, for most people who are not informed, for an obscure Supreme
anti-PAC, anti-gerrymandering. Boom. Great job. Pro-veteran.
Veterans of
$1 trillion. VA, supporting the VA. Great. Women's and family issues.
Yeah.
At the very bottom, being pro-life.
Nice.
That's the right way to do it.
Which, if you're in the moderate district, is where it belongs. Being pro-choice.
So I also really like Kara Eastman. I think she also has the Paul Davis effect. Let's look at Don Beacon, though. What are his issues?
But honestly, that's not a well curated website.
No. Oh, the website's being updated. All right, cool. So we don't know exactly what he stands for.
We'll hit up Kevin Bacon's cousin later.
All right. So Don Bacon, I like Kara Eastman.
So optimistic.
I like Kara Eastman.
We have more wall flags in the mail.
This is so close. Trump's
she's beating him by a point in May.
If you look at where Trump's lost popularity, on average, he's lost popularity by 4 to 6%.
Yeah.
Across the nation. So I think, especially in like Wisconsin, in Michigan, and in Pennsylvania, he's lost 4 to 6% popularity. I think that 2% in Nebraska withers away in that one district.
Although Don Bacon won by 2% in a wave year. He didn't come out of nowhere.
But this also is not going to be not a wave year.
Let me check Ballotpedia for a second, because I want to see who he was running against in the past.
Okay. Well,
what is
Don Bacon, Nebraska 2.
Because if she ran before, then this whole thing changes.
Mm-hmm. It's
definitely important to figure. Okay, come on. Elections 2018.
It looked like it might have been.
Oh,
it looks like it might have been the same race.
State Senate district. Oh, really? That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I might put it toss up.
Yeah, put it toss. I'd put it lean red then, honestly.
But it's an anti-Trump district. Trump's going to be on the ballot this time.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's only a plus 2% Trump district. This is barely a Trump district in 2016. Trump is objectively less popular.
Yep, it was exactly the same race in 2018. And Kara Eastman lost by 2 points. She lost by 5,000 votes. Oh, geez.
So I think that might be a toss-up. If you look at Trump's popularity, here we go, 538. Let us look at...
Compare it to 2018. But does he rise and fall with Trump is the question.
Here we go. So here's their 2018 forecast. They have it super close. Something switched and Bacon became in control. Polls, where is Trump's popularity holding up state by state perfectly? Yeah, so this is just to 2018. But if you look at Nebraska, Trump's popularity when he was elected was plus 23. It was plus 6 in 2016. That's 15% drop-ish in a year. Right. So let's say that popularity was again plus 23, right? On average, it was 54, 21, and a 2. If it dropped 16%,
again,
16%. But it also dropped then before this election, which is why I'm saying toss-up. I think it's going to be all right.
I'll give you toss-up, but I don't want to say lean Trump blue because it's a rematch. Yeah,
because Trump is unpopular, I think it's a toss-up. That's fair.
All right.
Nevada. Like I said earlier, I think Vegas is going to pull the rest out.
I agree.
And that's what we're going to see.
Here, just look at. I want to see the races real quick before we.
Blue wave candidate and blue wave candidate.
All right, that's fine.
popular blue wave candidate and popular blue wave candidate
Yep.
at that.
No complaints here.
New
All right,
Hampshire, two
same
close
deal.
seats. I think both of those are solid.
I agree.
I mean, a 12 and an
They're
8.
turning away from the president at the very least.
Excuse me. All right.
Bless you, sir. They're turning away from the president.
Yeah.
Let's keep it.
Yeah.
Let's keep it blue.
Jersey. All right. Jersey's
Oh,
interesting. Let's move to North Jersey.
Don't tell me to move to North Jersey.
This is one of our last busy states.
Yes.
This and New York. And I mean, we still also have, Wisconsin and Virginia.
Oh, and we're starting off with a doozy here with Jeff Van Drew.
He's what? He's a Republican, but the House went blue.
How does that work? Did somebody step down?
I don't believe so.
All right, Jeff Van Drew. What do we have to say?
Oh, he changed parties.
Oh, he's
after they impeached Trump, he became a Republican.
Well, lock it in, boys.
I mean, he's popular. He's popular. It leans red. This
is so weird. This is such a weird election to have to think about.
Who is his opponent? We don't know yet. Great. Cool.
Oh, man.
Oh.
He's really going after Governor Murphy, though, for shutting down restaurants.
Let's see what these 5 candidates have about them. Mm-hmm. Young black man, bachelors from Brown.
All right, that's a start.
Someone. John Francis III. Bridget Callahan Harrison. Amy Kennedy.
This isn't Massachusetts. Kennedy isn't going to work that easily.
Robert Turkovich. Let's start off with Turkovich and work our way down.
Okay. This Van Drew election is going to be weird.
Okay. So, interesting. National security, fair laws, and ensuring our children have a safe future. So, interesting.
He looks like a New Jersey dad.
So he's like a protectionist type person. Cybersecurity, has a section on undocumented immigrants, ACA, veterans issues. That's okay. Next, we have Amy Kennedy, much better designed website.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Issues. What do we got? Workers' Bill of Rights, healthcare, education, our economy, children and families, environment.
Somebody bring back the Teamsters.
All right. So I mean, we're really breezing through these websites, but that's a good page. That's a good page. Education director of the Kennedy Forum. Family person. Teacher. I think she looks like a good candidate for a district. What's up next? Bridget. When
I saw her website, I was like, that's not Jeff Van Drew.
Casino is the first thing.
Hey, she is addressing local issues.
Yeah. Medicare Israel is up next. Wow.
Oh wait. I thought she was about to be a political scientist who supports the state of Israel. All right. Tell me more, Democrats.
Legalizing cannabis.
I'm sorry. The fact that she has Israel up so high is a priority for her campaign, but then is clearly so progressive on everything else really threw me a curveball.
Yeah, that's okay. Weird.
Moderate?
John Francis.
Interesting. My 17-year vow of silence.
He's an environmental specialist.
I don't know how well environmentalism is going to sell in
He's
New
a
Jersey.
UNEP Goodwill Ambassador.
Again,
Interesting.
very impressive. I don't know how well that's going to sell in South Jersey.
This is North Jersey.
He's walking for Congress.
Or
I like that.
Oh, it is South Jersey. Never mind. And then lastly, we're looking at Will Cunningham, who also has a well-designed website. Looks kind of like a second Cory Booker for the state of New Jersey.
So what does Will have to say?
Raised by a single mother, hourly wage to factory job, paycheck to paycheck. So rags to respect. Went to Brown.
Dang. All right.
Worked in the House of Representatives as a chief investigator for Elijah Cummings.
If that doesn't get the Democrats out, then I don't know what will.
Held pharmaceutical. He's also a very good candidate.
So what's let me check the polls in that district real quick, because that's what I should have been doing this whole time. This is for New Jersey.
Surprisingly, he doesn't have anything on Israel, but he does have something on marijuana legalization.
Well, why is that surprising? I feel like that would sell super well in Jersey. What district is that? Is that
2?
New Jersey 2. I don't see any polls on New Jersey 2. It's almost as though 538 agrees with your consensus. New Jersey 7, though, we've got a poll that came out in April that has Malinowski losing by a point.
Interesting. We'll get to that. So what should we do for New Jersey 2? We don't know who the candidate is, but
I mean,
Van Drew's popular. I think this lean is accurate.
I agree, because that's such a weird district.
Yeah.
Knowing what we know about New Jersey, knowing who we know about New Jersey, I think it's fair to say that Van Drew is going to. Yeah. He seems personally secure.
All right. Up next is Andy Kim, New Jersey 3.
That wild that they have that leaning blue. Let's go into it.
I'm leaning towards toss-up for Andy Kim. He's fresh.
I am too.
He barely snuck out. But meanwhile, before we get to that, real quick, can we just agree Josh Gottimer, who swung the district 18 points?
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
Wait,
let me confirm that, because I saw a poll on that is interesting. No, Gottimer's only up by 2 in this poll on March 5th. He actually lost a poll. He was up by 2 against one primary challenger.
That was in March, though. That so much has changed. The support will in favor of Democrats since March.
Support will coalesce behind him. Yeah. Call it for Gottimer.
And I think the same goes with Cheryl. But the question is,
Malinowski is a lot more of a question mark.
I think we can keep it lean. He has enough of a balance, and it's slightly blue leaning. I think it's going to probably go 4% for Trump in 2020. Okay. And I think that 4% is going to keep him at that lean. The big question is Andy Kim.
Okay. Let's just do this. Okay, so his Wikipedia page came up before his website.
So he's running either against Kate Gibbs or David Richter of the Richter scale, I presume. Kate Gibbs and David Richter. Penn and Harvard grad.
Kim has an interesting website. Oh, that's his house website. That's why.
Official. All right. So Andrew Kim. Oh yeah, his campaign. What?
That's not his, because I saw that. I was like, why does he have flag requests on here? And he came from Congress. There we go. So, that's a heck of a backdrop.
I'm pulling it up now. Here
keeping my contract with the people of New Jersey.
Interesting.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Hold a town hall every month. No support from corporate PACs. Daily reports of full transparency. All right.
Wow. If he has held up to that, I think that he's got a great shot at sticking with it.
Okay, but let's look at who he's running against, the two possible candidates.
Yes.
So, looks like a just local populist. All right, so first we have Kate Gibbs.
All right.
Issues. Let's first see
incredibly run-of-the-mill website.
But well made.
Well made.
Prepare for the next COVID, make New Jersey more affordable, reduce the national debt. That's a rare thing from Republicans now, and promote compassionate social policy.
Hey,
Interesting.
that's she's got a shot. Preparing for the next bout of COVID, and it's on a Republican platform, that'll sell with moderates.
Yeah. Make New Jersey more affordable. That's going to sell with moderates in New Jersey. Reduce the national debt's going to appeal to the more right-leaning moderates.
Yeah.
Compassionate social policy is going to appeal to the left-leaning. Immigration, higher education, more accessible.
Oh, geez.
Pro-environment, pro-vet. She's a solid candidate for her district. Yeah, honestly, this is a Republican female Paul Davis. Honestly, she looks like a solid candidate. David Richter is Trump.
I feel like I saw him speak at the Republican convention in 2016.
Richter, cut wasteful spending, safeguard environment, cut taxes, improve cost and quality of health care.
Man.
Protect seniors, secure borders, defend Second Amendment. I think Kate's the better candidate, honestly, but both of those guys are solid candidates. I think toss-up.
Toss-up easily, because if you've got two good candidates and against an incumbent, but we will see, because he seems to be a strong incumbent.
New Mexico,
at the very least.
Torres Small. I think she's also.
Let's look at New Mexico too, then, because
that's a strong Trump district is the problem.
Yeah. This might be a New Mexico thing, though.
I think this might. Looking at the polls, also, she's down by 2. It's a toss-up, and I think toss-up.
Let's look at her. I want to look at Harrell for a second.
At what?
I want to look up the candidate. Yvette Harrell. All right, let's do this. Pro-God. Okay, well, let's just give this the necessary context. Pro-God, pro-life, pro-gun, pro-business, pro-energy.
This is probably a pretty high Hispanic district, so that might appeal very well.
Yeah, her first thing is finish the wall, secure the border, liberty, stand with President Trump. She is running hard to the right.
Yeah, that's
like her first issue. She does not talk about jobs until her 4th bullet point, and after that, it's national security. So we've got finish the wall, secure the border. I mean, if that's not sort of hitting the nail on the head, then
meanwhile we have economic development, education, healthcare, immigration, veterans for Torres Small.
Yeah, honestly,
I think it might lean her.
Put it lean toss up, because Torres Small is losing a poll that was taken in the beginning of. Oh, never mind. She was losing a poll that was taken in the end of December, so that has absolutely no bearing.
It was just published.
Although Harrell was defeating her quite handily in a poll taken in January 2019, but again,
that's immediately after the election.
Yeah, that's immediately after the election.
All right, New York. This is going to be an interesting one. Open in New York 27 is open. What? Why is that? But honestly, 24% Trump. As long as what's his name?
Red.
Chris Collins isn't running.
Yeah,
that's staying red. Pete King's dropping out, but again, I think
that'll stay red just because
Trump is staying red. Lee Zeldin again, like 12% Trump. He's going to carry it.
Yeah, I agree.
Over here, we have people who are really swinging the party. I think Sean Maloney's staying in with 10.
I want to. Max Rose is.
Let's look at Rose, Delgado, and
Delgado is worth looking into. All right, so. All right, let's see. Poll taken in the middle of June. New York 24. That is weird. Okay, New York 24 is definitely worth talking about right now, because that is a district that a Republican won that went for Clinton. And here's scroll down. Is he running again?
NY 24.
Katko. John Katko. Recent poll has him down by 3.
So I might put. He's a long term. It's a slightly blue leaning, but but he's obviously
a poll
moderate
before
enough.
that had him holding even. Let me look up this his challenger.
Balter.
Balter, New York. What is this? New York 27?
24.
24. Dana Balter. I'll tell you, when we did this in 2016, there are a lot more, or 2016, 2018, there are a lot more women running now than there were back then.
Yeah, which is great. We're looking at Dana Balter.
This is a really unique page, actually. This is a very unique page. Money in politics, healthcare for all, a fair economy. She's got all of like the liberal endorsements, though. Emily's List, Democracy for America, Progressive Change Campaign Committee, Progressive Caucus, Indivisible, Planned Parenthood. It's a who's who of progressive PACs.
And Catco, that's his house page that they went to.
Let's see who was running.
All right, so let's look at John Catco's page though. Catco has this looks like a Democrats page when you get to it.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
This is a okay. Issues. National security, typical for New York. Creating jobs, empowering teachers, honoring veterans, improving healthcare, local priorities.
Oh, this is one of those districts where they're going to solve school shootings by arming teachers, is what this looks like.
But honestly, it looks like no, it's ending Common Core.
Yeah, but that again, that's such a weird issue.
I think honestly, Catco still leans towards him.
Yeah, you want to know why? Because Balter ran against him in 2018 and lost by 5 points.
6 points, actually, 6.2. So we have Delgado, Rose, and Brindisi running.
So let's keep Catco in there.
Rose is interesting because that's Staten Island.
Staten Island went blue?
Yeah. First time in a while, but Staten Island went blue.
Rose was able to... but I think Staten Island going blue is a bit of an anomaly because in 2018 there was actually, I think there was somebody who had a criminal record who was running.
Okay, so do you think it goes back? Because he won by 6%.
Let me look that up. This is New York 11?
Yeah. We have 11, 19, and 22 to cover in New York.
All right. Because I have a feeling that this was somebody who is who had some kind of weird interaction there. Okay. Joe Calderera. Okay, no, that's not it. Maybe this is not the district. I just want to see. My one complaint with Ballotpedia is that they don't have the same formatting for every page, so it can be very difficult to figure out what happened. Okay, Dan Donovan was the Republican who he was running against. I think that might have been the guy. But I am not sure. No, that's not him.
No, so it looks like he just was a better candidate.
Yeah.
And won, which
better that's a good sign. Donovan had been
I might put lean blue.
Yeah, you can keep that lean blue because Staten Island is a place where you literally have to knock doors. It's a person-to-person kind of deal. So if he's winning Staten Island by 6 points, then
yeah, I think Brindisi stays toss-up because it's such a strong Trump district, but he was able to pull it out. If he was able to pull it out by 1.2, I think that's enough to keep it a toss-up.
Let me see if there's any worthwhile polls on that. What number was that? New York 22?
22. It's looking like a pretty close race from what I'm seeing from November, in fairness.
Yeah, November. From November, we've got Tenney up. We've got Tenney who is running. We got Tenney up by 6, Tenney up by 1.
But that was then.
Oh wait, that's in.
And then Brindisi won. Yeah, and then Brindisi still won. So I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a toss-up. I think toss-up.
I agree. Toss-up is the right way to put it.
Delgado.
This is New York 19. Again, not sufficient polling on this. Both. So Delgado. Okay, so here's actually like a poll worth looking into. Most of these polls have both candidates in like the mid high 40s. Delgado and
Or both
was running in the low 40s, high 30s, and as was his opponent, which
so a lot of unsure voters. And he has two possible candidates. So first we have Delgado. Let's look at what he has. Campaign website. Delgado. Antonio Delgado. Upstate New York.
Upstate New York is always such a tricky place to run because upstate New York, this seems like a place where
good endorsements.
Oh wow. This upstate New York is a kind of place where people could get uppity about what Cuomo was doing. So no, that could put him in jeopardy.
Cuomo's been pretty popular in New York, even upstate.
In New York, it's a question of upstate New York where you're never
sure. That's what I'm saying. Jobs, healthcare, taxes, education, environment. Looks pretty strong.
Looks pretty strong. He's running against a new challenger, so it's always worth it to look into it in this case.
Hawadame, I think, is how to pronounce her name.
Ola for Congress, a lot better.
Ola, Christian immigrants from Jordan, so daughter of immigrants running for Congress.
Christian immigrant, that story will sell here.
Yeah. Charity work, cancer survivor, endorsed by Trump.
Cancer survivor. Oh man, that really is.
Yeah. Okay.
Graduate of Marist College. That sort of tops it off.
And a mother. All right, and then we have Kyle Van de Water.
That chin though. He looks like he's wearing a motion capture suit for American Dad.
All right, jobs and wages, Second Amendment, opioid crisis, border security is national security. That's what national security means.
So she was endorsed by President Trump, though.
No, she spoke at something that was endorsed by Trump.
Oh.
Kyle C. Vanderwater. Ryan.
I was going to say, I didn't expect President Trump to endorse an immigrant.
Another thing that's important to remember, though, is who's going to be campaigning in upstate New York? Yang.
Oh,
Yang's going to be talking in upstate New York.
That is very true.
They have it in the middle right here. I'd put it still lean, not solid.
You're giving a lot of, as much as I love Andrew Yang, you're really giving him a lot of credit in this race.
They put him at lean, or it's slightly stronger than lean. They put him at likely. I think it's lean. I think that's where we put it.
I like that as well.
And that's what we got.
All right.
North Carolina.
This is going to be another crazy one.
I mean, I don't know. They redistricted, so we don't get any help here. But I mean, if you look at these margins of victory, I think it's pretty.
Yeah,
that's a pretty easy call. Even though you have people not running for re-election, it's gerrymandered enough. It's fine.
The only one that is worth talking about now. There's been no recent polling, and polling from 2019, late 2019, has it pretty close with the Democrat winning.
Speaking of gerrymandering, let's look at that Cleveland area of Ohio.
Ooh. If
so
you want to,
two competitive districts.
Connecticut is a masterclass in gerrymandering. Ohio is not far behind though.
No, Ohio's just a lot more obvious with it. So we have Ohio 1 and Ohio 12, the close races. Ohio 1, Steve Chabot is still pretty solidly in charge. Trump is strong in that district. Ohio's staying Trump probably.
Yeah.
I might even put him at solid, but I'm going to keep him at lean for now. Troy Balderson.
He ran last time. He did not do terribly well.
No, but he still pulled it away because of
the reason the Democrats were begging and pleading to get that seat.
Yeah.
The reason they didn't is primarily because of gerrymandering.
Yeah.
And I think that it will continue to work in their favor.
And again, he still won by 4% because that was a special election they barely won. They ran the same election again. he won by a solid amount. I think he's safe.
I agree.
Until they redistrict, I think he's safe.
See, here, just go back to that map for a second. Ohio is technically a swing state. Look at that.
Yeah. Great gerrymandering. Oklahoma. Kendra Horn.
All right, let's look at that.
Oklahoma City, we have a first term. Swung it enough, but not a ton.
Oh, boy. This is Oklahoma 5, I assume.
Oklahoma 5.
She's losing by 12. No. That's 2018 poll. I have
so she pulled out a victory in 2018.
Wow. Okay. All right.
She was down by a ton and then swung ahead.
Ballotpedia demands a call. Wait, what's that race? Oklahoma 5.
There are a lot of Republicans running against her.
They all think that they could win. All right, Stephanie. Oh no, wait.
So let's look at Kendra Horn's page because we're not going to be able to figure out which Republicans running against her. So here's Kendra Horn's page. Tired of partisanship,
solid.
Working families. I might need to see a popularity poll for her because this is it's hard to determine from this website. Education, healthcare, women and families, gun safety, infrastructure.
What else do we have? So according to Ballotpedia, we've got a couple of candidates who are running well. We've got Stephanie Bice.
Electionprojection.com, for what it's worth, puts her slightly in the lead.
Yeah, well,
but it's let's see. Oh, Politico is predicting also way too early.
Join the party, Politico. Let's go. All right. Terry Neese. A lot of women running against it. This is likely to be an all, not only an all-female general race in November, but actually a majority female primary.
All right, here's something that's interesting. From Breitbart, but 36% of her district says they wouldn't vote for her if she voted for impeachment.
And did she vote for impeachment? That's a genuine question. She did. Interesting. But really, as
she only had 51% popularity. Also,
as reliable as Breitbart's election predictions have been, that was before COVID. That was before a lot of different things happened.
Yeah. But if you look at these polls, it's not looking too good. This looks like internal Republican polling.
Take it with a grain of salt, but still.
Yeah, it looks like a really tight race. At best, I'd put here. I might even put it back. Yeah, I think she might lose it.
Yeah.
All right. Up next.
And it looks like there are some solid candidates who are running against her, which is
Oregon. Only one race that's really interesting, and that's Peter. Because it barely didn't go for Trump, but he's popular enough. He's been in here forever.
Easily. The rest of that basically writes itself. Ooh, we're on to Pennsylvania. Let's go.
All right.
Oh, and Mike Kelly is in another close one. No, he's not. Honestly, after they've redistricted Pennsylvania, there really aren't that many elections worth talking about.
So,
although
let's get to Western PA last. Let's get to Western PA last. Let's start over here.
All right.
So we have Brian Fitzpatrick. I think this is accurate.
Brian Fitzpatrick is I actually had the chance to talk to one of the people who worked in his office. Mm-hmm. He's in actually a very good spot. They're grooming him for Senate.
So you think he's solid red?
I would put it lean red.
Lean red, okay.
Yeah.
Susan Wild, she looks fine in a 10%. She'll be able to withstand any Trump.
She will. 10%. One more word on Fitzpatrick though. Just let's not just talk about personal testimonials here. Let's look at the numbers. He was elected in a district that went for Clinton by 2 points, and he survived the wave by 2.5 points.
Yeah,
he's fine.
So he should be fine. Cartwright, again, same thing. He's popular enough that he can withstand Trump. Same situation as Fitzpatrick with the other side.
Harry is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Because DePasquale is a very well-known state figure.
Yeah.
DePasquale is the Democrat running against him.
Mm-hmm.
A poll in late May has Perry up by 3 points. But here's a really interesting thing, because when you see that a candidate has actually already has 50% of the vote in a poll,
Yeah.
it's a sign of a kind of a decided electorate. So,
and the other thing is, what's in this district? Hershey. You know where Trump loves speaking.
yeah,
Hershey. I'd put it
lean. That if there's going to be a toss-up, it's going to be that one. 538's got it wrong if they're saying that Fitzpatrick is going to be a toss-up, but the Perry versus Deep Pasquale is definitely going to be an interesting one.
Now, Connor Lamb,
right.
super popular in his district.
Can confirm.
But he is facing some stiff competition.
What's his name? This is bad. This is my district. I should know who. It's not my district.
PA 17.
Who is he running against? He's running against this Sean Parnell.
Yes.
Who is a
national figure.
Well,
who
barely.
Just moved over to Pittsburgh from Eastern PA.
He's also kind of a carpetbagger, but whatever.
Within PA still though, which is enough. He's a media personality.
Fox News has been going hard.
Yes.
For Sean Parnell.
Also a veteran.
More importantly, he's got the look of a veteran.
Yeah.
Connor Lamb is a veteran too, but
Connor Lamb's a veteran lawyer, and he shows.
Yeah, he does not have the look of a veteran. He doesn't have, the chiseled
beard. Another thing that you'll see is Parnell. I mean, first thing you see is a picture of him in a suit, in his uniform. Lamb does not have pictures of his uniform anywhere. Period. He doesn't post pictures of him in his uniform.
But that's sort of a thing for him.
Speaking from internal sources that I know, he feels like it's disingenuous. But
care to reveal your sources? No, I'm kidding.
Meanwhile, we have 1, 2, 3. So Parnell's making a much bigger deal out of his military past than Lamb is.
Now, here's an interesting thing, because let me give you the lowdown on Parnell's candidacy, because this is the first candidate who is consistently on. Now, we talk about candidates having a national profile. Parnell is on Fox News about as often as our friend Luke, who's running in the 18th district, is on OAN. It's a very weird dichotomy. So Fox, he's getting a big push from them. The 17th district it's you have a very liberal town, and then you have basically the west side of Pittsburgh,
again,
which runs a lot more. It has that libertarian streak.
It's not gerrymandered.
If it is,
even though it was a court decided map, but it's not gerrymandered.
Yeah, it's definitely in the Democrats' favor here.
Yeah.
And that's part of why Lamb won in November. He also won because Keith Rothfuss gave up.
But he won by a lot.
But again, we did a deep dive on that election. That 12.5 number is a little bit misleading.
Yeah, because it should be about a 7%.
Because Rothfuss lost his funding.
Yeah.
Connor Lamb was running in literally a very specific district that's made perfectly for him, and so it's
Alex, fun fact: why did Keith Rothfuss lose his funding? Who did that funding go to?
It went to defeat our boy Paul Davis.
It went to Kansas too.
Went to Kansas too. So this is why it's we did a deep dive on Kansas too. We did a deep dive on. There are concurrences in this election, and the relationship between Pennsylvania and Kansas was one of them.
If Lamb was running against anyone else, it'd be a solid. I think because Parnell's such a strong candidate, it puts it at a lean, despite Lamb's popularity.
Because Lamb is such a very calm and composed speaker. Yeah. If Lamb was very populist, he could just hop on the mic and be like, "Hey, Sean Parnell is running for Congress to sell books."
Yeah.
If he said that out loud, I feel like it would be pretty. Yeah. It would be pretty effective.
But we can move on. Rhode Island staying blue. South Carolina, we have one toss-up district from Joe Cunningham, a first-time Republican or first-time blue wave Democrat.
A first-time Republican.
I'm not too positive.
Let me just see if there are any, before we pass judgment. Let me see if there are any polls on Parnell and Lamb.
There
Pennsylvania
are not that I could
polled
find. I wouldn't. I didn't find it. And we're going to see a ton very shortly, but
yes.
none yet.
Okay, so Cunningham. Joe Cunningham is
neck and neck race, and at this point, again, like we said, it's going to shift slightly red. South Carolina is going red.
Yeah, I like that.
South Carolina is going red. I think it's leaning.
The Republicans closed the distance from
Yeah.
2018 to 2020. It's not an ideal situation for Cunningham.
South Dakota,
red.
Yep. Tennessee, great gerrymander there. Texas, all right, we're in the home stretch here.
Yes, we are. And another, all right, so we've got, let's look at Texas 6.
Dan Crenshaw, he's safe.
Crenshaw is redder than red. He's going to run
here. Let's
just
get all of these ones out. Chip Roy is going to be carried by Trump.
Easily.
Michael McCall, carried by Trump. Pete Olson's not running for re-election. We'll get back to that. Roger Williams, carried by Trump. John Carter, carried by Trump.
See, okay, let's talk about Texas's gerrymandering here for a second. That many elections are that close is a pretty good representation of Texas as a whole.
This is the Dallas area. See that nice little...
That's well done, objectively.
And then here's Houston.
Houston's going to go... Houston will go blue. Their... Well, not their mayor, but because in Texas they have judges who are executives for some reason. So Houston's
the fact
mayor,
that real
judge
quick,
is like very much taking over the situation. Houston, I think, may have an extra district go blue.
Look at that. Look at those districts right there.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
But all right, so here we have we'll get to that. Check.
I don't know why they have. Oh, it's because they have it in order, not because of
Lizzie Fletcher. I think with 5%
Clinton
in the
actually
slightly
won
blue
that
leaning,
district. So
I think she's fine in this
I agree that
position.
She's fine.
Check. I honestly,
right, Pete Olson, Texas 22.
not running for re-election though.
Well, why? That's important, but
I think though with these numbers, I think it's a solid lean regardless of who's running, unless like Beto's running. There are no nationally known Democrats from Texas
anymore,
other than Beto. And
okay,
Beto's...
Texas 22. Let's just pull this up. Hopefully, Ballotpedia's got something. Sri Preston Kulkarni versus Joseph LeBlanc. The Republicans are still in a primary, right? Oh, this.
Yeah, they're still in primaries.
Republicans are still in a primary. Kathleen Wall versus Troy Nels.
Yeah, I think at this point, since we don't know who it is, I think we can put it as a solid lean left. Or lean right. Will Hurd, he barely squeaked out a victory in an election in a re-election year. He's not running for re-election, and it's a pro-blue district. I think it's going to lean blue again.
What district is that?
23. The polls also put it in a slight advantage for blue.
Slight advantage for Ortiz Jones, the Democrat, over Gonzalez.
Yeah, I think lean blue is the correct classification for that.
All right. We have another incumbent, a long-term incumbent who's not running for re-election.
24.
What district is this? Texas 24.
Where is that?
No
Let's
polling
zoom in
on
and find
that.
out. Is it here? Yes, it is. It's in Dallas. It's Greater Dallas.
Well, Dallas should be due for at least one district turning blue, and that might be the one.
It's 6% Trump, though, which
that is true.
If we're putting 7% Trump as lean, it wouldn't be fair to put it as lean blue.
All right. The Democrats right now are in a runoff in their primary, so that's does not. Still unclear who the Democrats are going to be. Beth Van Dune. I don't have the accent to say that right.
Let's look at what she's about. We're Christian conservative mother. Okay, good start for her in Texas.
She kind of looks like a Republican Wendy Davis, to be honest. There's an old reference.
Single mom, conservative Republican, reformer who has defeated government corruption, believer in rule of law, helped remove thousands of criminal aliens. That's that's Texas Republican right there. Oop, is she going to repeal the IRS? No, it's a get payment from the coronavirus.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's a solid. She's a solid candidate. I'd keep it lean red.
Sure.
With a 6% Trump, I think that's.
I agree.
Red.
I agree.
Last one, all red. All red's district
Texas
is not
32.
all red. He's more popular than Clinton was in his district.
I don't have good polling on 32 either.
I think lean blue is the correct answer.
Texas 32. Sorry, the 32nd congressional district. Unclear who. Okay. Yeah, everybody's got this leaning Democratic.
Yeah, I think lean Democratic.
Sabato's crystal ball has it likely Democratic, that's interesting.
Anyways, let's move on to Utah, where we have Ben McAdams, a first-term Democrat running for re-election.
Oh man, that they have that likely makes me want to ask some questions.
Well, if you look at the polls, he's up. He's up. In early
up by
polls.
5 against McFarland. Yeah, but that's from 2019.
I think, yeah.
And coronavirus has generally helped Democrats. So if McAdams is up before, let's assume he's up by more.
I think lean blue is the correct answer, knowing the little we do. Vermont. Yep. Virginia. All right.
All right.
So I'm just gonna go out and say Abigail Spanberger, lean blue. She's going to be in a tough race. It's a tough district, but I think she's the strong candidate for it.
Abigail Spangenberger is the only candidate who I will call a queen.
Wexton, this district up here in Loudoun County is very, very quickly moving very, very blue. I mean, just look at that. She destroyed. I forgot the candidate she ran against the name, but like just absolutely demolished her in the wave year, and I think that's going to stick. I think she's fine.
So this Virginia 5 looks like an interesting case study because we've got so Riggleman was defeated in the primary, and we've got a new poll that came out in the end of June that's got the Democrat losing by 2 points.
I'm sorry, Webb. There's no way that's the Webb I'm thinking it is, right?
I don't know. You know Virginia politics.
There's no way that's former Virginia Senator Jim Webb. No, it's not. Okay, it's Cameron Webb. Jim Webb ran for president in 2016.
What?
Yeah, he was one of those people with Lincoln Chafee that ran for like a second and dropped out when he realized it didn't really matter. Pro-gun Democrat.
I know that face. Yeah, I remember Jim Webb now.
Yeah, him.
Yeah. I only remember Lincoln Chafee and Martin O'Malley.
Yeah.
Not Jim Webb.
So the important thing, looking at this most recent poll, Cameron Webb has the female vote by 4%. Bob Good has the male vote by 11%.
Is Virginia politics really that gendered?
Depends on where you are.
Yeah.
Virginia 5 though is here.
What a
Virginia
weird...
5.
So let me see if I can get this straight. The further south you go, the more red. Am I?
Yeah, pretty much.
So it will be if they can turn out the north.
Yeah, which I think the north is going to turn out.
The north will rise again.
Ooh.
All right.
Like that's like Culpeper area, and Charlottesville I think is in that district maybe, or just outside of that district. I think I put it here. It's still strong.
It's tough.
Still strong.
Tough.
I think it stays red. I think it stays red.
Yeah.
And then I think this one is accurate.
Virginia 2
a first term
blue.
She switched it. It's out here. It's really unpredictable. It's really more Delaware than it is Virginia.
Yeah. Okay. I think 538 has that one in a dead heat right now. So
yeah, I think lean blue is good because I think Virginia is going to trend blue, especially with Trump on the ballot.
I agree.
Going to trend blue.
I absolutely agree.
All right, we have Washington. Only if you're in Pittsburgh. We have this solid. I think both of those are solid with their parties.
Is that Washington 8?
Washington 3 and Washington 8.
Washington 8 is a tricky. Oh no, there's no recent polls on that. Never mind.
Yeah, I think it's a solid.
Yeah, they had the Democrat in 2018 Schreier, right?
Yeah.
She looks, from these polls taken before the election, she looked like she was going to lose.
And then she pulled out a victory by 5%. So I think she definitely has some good support. I think she'll be safe. And then this is
Washington 3, Republican was up 12 going into her election. So
she only won by 5, but I think again she'll still be fine.
Yes,
it seems like Washington there was a sudden shift at the last second. Yeah. West Virginia,
red, red, and more red.
And then we have let's do Wyoming first. I think we can.
Yeah,
I think Liz Cheney. I think she's done. I think she's. Yeah.
Liz Cheney is going to lose. I'm calling it this year.
All right, so we really only have one competitive district, and that is, I believe, the former district of
Wisconsin 3, right?
Orion.
I think that's
Paul Ryan's former district, actually.
Oh man. Oh, how the turntables.
Maybe that was a different one. No, that was Wisconsin 1. That's what I thought. All right, this one's Paul Ryan. It was actually a semi-close race there, if I remember correctly.
But
or people thought it was going to be a close race. Oh, that's fine. He's fine.
What?
Again,
kind?
Yeah.
Really? Because I've got a poll from.
Look at how much he won
by 20 points. Yeah, but I have him in 2019. I have him in 2019 losing by
that's July of
2019. I know, I'm just saying
July of 2019.
It's a 20-point swing.
July of 2019. I think that it's so far in advance. That was before impeachment was a thing. That was 6 months before impeachment was a thing.
That might have been here. Let me just look it up because it's our one last one that we're gonna do. What is this? Wisconsin 3?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what Ballotpedia has to say about this. Okay, not the state Senate district. All right, there we go. It concerns me when it's not the first one that comes up. Okay, incumbent, wrong kind. Okay, again, this is not great. Okay, so he won his primary easily. Or I don't know if he has not won his primary yet, I don't think.
Wisconsin. I thought they had their primary. No, they didn't have their congressional
It was postponed. So
let's look at what funds Mark A. Newman has for his website.
Jesse
Bonner dropped out. It's Mark Newman is the other Democrat. This is another Wix Squarespace looking website.
It's a very environmentalist website, and I mean,
I don't
play, but I mean,
Mark Newman doesn't look like he has the energy to.
Ron Kind is an incredibly popular and seems like successful candidate by Democratic standards.
Jesse Eben and Derek Van Orden.
First we have all right, Jesse Eben at first. So
Wisconsin. Let's look at issues.
Oh, does she have a here's what
pro-life, pro-gun, pro-rural, pro-First Amendment, pro-Second Amendment, pro-limited government, low taxes, unborn life. Haven't I already said that like 3 times?
Easy enough.
Yeah,
I like that she took the time to say that she was pro-First Amendment.
Yes.
Because, you
need the second to defend the first. And then the other guy, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
I feel like he's about to sell me some supplements.
Look at this. We don't need any more politicians in Washington. We need statesmen. I am not a politician. America the beautiful, the shining city upon a hill. America, the city.
America was great in the first place, 2020.
Tell Derek your perspective. Farming and trade, healthcare, education, national security, NATO.
Endless wars.
And endless wars. Interesting. National.
We must be firm in our commitments to our NATO allies. I see which way the winds are blowing on this one. No endorsement for you, sir.
Anti-philosophy or anti-socialism, which is a philosophy, kind of. Anyways, I think it's
that one's going to be tough to call.
I mean, honestly, he's been there for 12 terms, plus 20, even against Trump. I think he's fine.
I'm inclined to agree.
All right. So there we have it.
Let's tally it up.
All right. So, what's the current Democratic House of?
Right now, the Democrats have a 40-seat advantage, I think.
What I want the number. I want the number.
It might not be that many.
Right now, the Democrats have 233.
233.
We're predicting they'll lose 3 seats net. Interesting.
They could lose more than that, though. They could lose.
Yeah, there are a few toss-ups. We have 5
well, no.
toss-ups.
That's assuming that they lose all 5 toss-ups.
Oh, right. Okay, so it's going to be.
So they
actually we have them at pretty much an exact balance at 232.5.
They could gain 2 seats. They could lose 3. That's what we're calling for right now.
So here is our prediction. Write this down in your minds, but only remember it if we're right. Okay. We have the Democrats, Joe Biden, winning by 279 to 289 electoral votes. Then we have
10.
a tie in the Senate.
Yes.
And lastly, we have 230 to 235 Democratic seats, with them maintaining the majority. Mm-hmm. Those are our way, way, way too early predictions. It's way too late. It's way, way, way too late. 12:46, so we're going to have to call it for this very, very early Friday morning.
Our intro and outro music is by Paul Abrams and Rock Solid Panda, and it's also been produced by Elise Duda.
You can find a recording of this podcast and any of our other ones on our YouTube channel only. This one's only on our YouTube channel. The other ones can also be listened to on Spotify, on SoundCloud, wherever, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcasts, wherever you listen to whatever you waste your time listening to. You can also follow us. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also remember to listen to our other episode that's coming up this week. That is going to be on what happened if Al Gore won the presidential election.
Exactly.
It was one of our first conversations. We're going to have a great time re-going over it and figuring out what would have happened.
That's what you do at 12:45 a.m. You re-go over things. And you can find that episode only where you get your podcasts. Sorry, YouTube, no free ad money for you on that one. But as always, we welcome your comments, your feedback, and your suggestions. Tell us how our way, way, way too early predictions are right or wrong. And now that it's Friday,
way right or way, way, way wrong.
Now that it's Friday, have a good one and a great weekend.